All right, police showing a crash 65 northbound at Rosa Parks Boulevard in Antioch. Police say there's a crash 24 westbound at the Blue Hole Road overpass. Talbot's Corner injury crash. Police reporting 65 southbound at Trinity Lane. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.306 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand, and you may be thinking to yourself, what the hell are you doing here? Again?
Our world's turned upside down.
I know. I'm with you. We all thought Matt Murphy was tough enough for this moment. We've all been let down.
Yeah, I mean, can't he just rub some dirt on it?
I told him to. I said, just do a handstand.
Yeah.
Walk it off. And he said doctors recommended against it. So,
well.
No. Listen, hey, Matt, take as much time as you need.
Yes, sir.
We all wishing you a speedy recovery. Me and Mandis we were texting back and forth earlier today, and I mean, we both agreed like it's got to be tough to go through that surgery, especially if, you're not as strong as you made yourself out to be. So,
and he can't say anything about it.
Listen, I love Matt Murphy, so he knows that, and it's like, I'm going to make fun of him. So, where you at, Matt? Where you at? He missed one of the most monumental weeks of all time.
Yeah. Last week was one of those weeks, man, where as a talk show host, as a news anchor, you got to be in on it.
So my wife and I were talking. It was like Sunday morning. She's like, "So because this was a game time decision that Matt wasn't going to be here. Just so you guys know, like we had to call. We called an audible on the field essentially. So yesterday morning, my wife and I were talking, and she's like, "Are you going to be doing Murphy's show?" And I said, I don't think so. Like, I know the pull that you have as like a host to come back and do the show. And I know that I would want to be back. And I know Murphy wants to be back. And my wife is looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, I know him. And then so I text Murphy. I said, hey, how you feeling, bud? And he goes, because I've been trying to explain to E my desire to go back and do the show all morning, but she just doesn't understand. I said, I've been trying to explain it to Virginia. I've been trying. I get it. They don't understand. But Matt's going to take a couple more days off. That guy's earned it. God bless him. Say a prayer for Matt. Hope that he recovers well. He'll be back after the 4th of July. And hopefully he doesn't have any firework accidents with the new shoulder. You know what I mean? Use the old shoulder, light him with the left. And then you should be all right. But he did. He missed a heck of a week, you guys. Carolyn Levitt laid out that heck of a week that Matt Murphy missed today at her press briefing.
We are truly coming off a historic week of President Trump racking up win after win on behalf of the American people. President Trump restored peace through strength and acted decisively as commander-in-chief to obliterate the immediate threat of the Iranian regime's nuclear capabilities and then brokered a ceasefire between Israel and Iran, which continues to hold. Then, the president traveled to the Netherlands and achieved a monumental win for the United States and the NATO alliance by getting our allies to dedicate 5% of their GDPs to military spending.
You're going to get so tired of winning, you're going to say, please, Mr. President, please, no more winning. I'm tired of winning. I'll say, no, we have to keep winning. We have to win more. Are you tired of winning yet? No, of course you're not. The only thing that could make things better right now would be interest rates being dropped yet. I don't think we're going to get points on the board for that anytime soon. Carolyn Levitt also talked about this today at the press briefing. Donald Trump had a message for one Jerome Powell, who just he's too late. He's too late. He's a day late, dollar short. Never will lower rates because he's a partisan hack, I believe they call it. Is it a partisan hack? He's a hack. But Donald Trump has a message for Jerome Powell.
I bring to you original correspondence from the President of the United States to our Fed chair Jerome Powell. As the president has consistently stated, the American economy is booming. And there were so many economic analysts who said that this president's policies would drive our economy down, when in fact we have seen the opposite. We've seen a massive deregulation campaign take place. We've seen inflation completely diminished from where it was under the reckless spending and the bad policies of the previous incompetent administration. I would remind the Fed chair, and I would remind the entire world, that this is a president who was a businessman first, and he knows what he is doing. He has a proven economic formula that worked in his first term as president, and it is working again. The one problem that remains is high interest rates for the American people. The American people want to borrow money cheaply, and they should be able to do that. But unfortunately, we have interest rates that are still too high. So the president sent this note to the Fed chair today. And if you look at this chart, this is a chart of all of the interest rates of many countries throughout the world. At the top is Switzerland. They're only paying a quarter for interest rates. Cambodia, Japan, Denmark, Thailand, Botswana, Barbados, Taiwan, Bulgaria, Cuba, Sweden, Morocco, Cabo Verde, South Korea, Algeria, Canada, Albania, Libya, Malaysia, China, New Zealand, Trinidad and Tobago, Czechia, Bolivia, Australia, Costa Rica, the Bahamas, Kuwait, Papua New Guinea, Bosnia, United Kingdom, and the UAE are all paying lower interest rates than the United States of America, which has one of the hottest and strongest economies in the world.
How do you like that? You're paying higher interest rates than the Bosnians. Doesn't feel good. Day late in the dollar shirt, Jerome Powell. Now, we got to get the interest rates down. That's going to be, a bridge down the road that we're going to have to cross. The main goal in front of us today is going to be passing the big, beautiful bill. So the Senate's debating amendments right now ahead of an expected final vote with an outcome that is uncertain. Is this going to happen? Is it not going to happen? Will it be here before the 4th of July? Only time will tell. I can tell you where I stand, and this is just me. Is it going to be more spending than we want? Sure. Yep. Just like every other spending bill that's come before it, right? Just every single time, it's always going to be more than what we envisioned. But me personally, last week, 2 weeks ago now, I was doubting the Trump administration. I was looking at the Trump administration with how they were going to handle the Iran situation, and I thought that there was no winning in that situation whatsoever. And I had a belly full of doubt. And I was proven wrong very, very quickly that we could have an offensive engagement in Iran and we wouldn't have a long, protracted quagmire in the Middle East. Didn't think it was possible. So at this point, for me personally, I'm just going to trust the Trump administration. I'm going to trust the guys that he's put in place to make the right decisions, because they're saying that this is going to pay for itself. They're saying that with the way the economy is going to bounce once this bill gets passed, you're going to see this big, beautiful bill pay for itself. Is that going to happen? I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure it's not going to happen. So what I'm going to do right now is I am going to trust Trump. Carolyn Levitt said today it is incredibly important that we pass the big, beautiful bill, and I tend to agree. What we see with the big, beautiful bill is it is going to be the vehicle to get the Trump mandate that happened in November through. It is going to fund the border security. It's going to fund the wall. It's going to fund the deportations. This is going to change the course of our nation. We need to get it done.
And it's also incredibly important that we pass this one big, beautiful bill, which is the largest tax cuts in American history. And that's why the White House and the president himself have been in touch with lawmakers all weekend long to get this bill passed. And they are working very hard to do so. It remains a top priority for the president. And this bill has exposed the clear differences between Republicans and Democrats in 2025. The Democrats are doubling down on craziness and radical policies that are undermining the very fabric of our country. Just look at the Democrat nominee for New York City Mayor, Zohran Mamdani. He's a Democrat socialist, really a communist, who proudly calls to defund the police, peddles anti-Semitism, praises pro-Hamas groups, wants Israel abolished, and believes wealthy Americans should not exist. Those are his words.
So what Carolyn Levitt is essentially laying out there is a time-old saying, your boos mean nothing because we've seen what makes you cheer. So while the Democrats are mad at the big, beautiful bill, okay, great. Like, we see what you root on. We see what you guys are in favor of, so your boos mean absolutely nothing to us. It is incredibly important that we pass the big, beautiful bill. Scott Bessent says that this is the vehicle to get the Trump promises done. The no tax on tips, the no tax on overtime, the no tax on Social Security. These are still in play.
We can start with the CBO. Is their model presumes 1.8% forever. And maybe under Democratic governments, that's right. I think what we saw under President Trump's first term is that we will get a big boost in the economy from the tax bill. We're going to have certainty. We're going to go back to 100% expensing. So we are also deregulating at the same time. So we saw it in Trump 1.0. I think that we can see it here. So I think we can really accelerate the economy because the CBO model shows 1.8% growth, whether we have the biggest tax cut in history or we get this across the line and give companies and consumers great certainty.
The CBO, those predictions, the Trump administration is saying are way off. Way off. The Democrats are saying, no. This big, beautiful bill is going to hurt anybody. Anybody. Every American is going to be hurt by this. If you're on Medicaid, you're going to be hurt by this. Are you on SNAP benefits? Bernie Sanders wants to know if you're on SNAP benefits, it's going to hurt you too. It's actually going to take food out of kids' mouths.
The future of America rests with our children. And yet, in a nation which now has the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major country on earth, this bill wipes out nutrition assistance for millions of hungry kids in America. We are literally taking food out of the mouths of hungry kids to give tax breaks to Mr. Bezos and Mr. Musk and Mr. Zuckerberg and the other multi-billionaires.
Oh, we're taking food out of kids' mouths to enrich billionaires. This is just another example of emotional manipulation and not what is actually happening. What they're going to do with the SNAP benefits is they're going to take them away from people who are able-bodied and willing and able to work. Yeah, that makes sense. Was the Anthony Oliver song, my tax, if you're 400 pounds, my tax dollars shouldn't be going to your box of fudge rounds? Like, yeah, it's a little bit of that. A little bit of that, too. But you're going to see that. And you don't see the crocodile tears from Bernie Sanders back when, during the Biden administration, they were kicking kids out of school in New York City to house the school with illegal aliens, right? No, they didn't care about the kids then. They're going to care about them now, though, because now when they care, it's going to hurt the Republicans. You're going to see this song and dance over and over and over again, whether it's SNAP benefits or whether it's Medicaid. With the Medicaid side, they're going to be removing about 1 million and change illegal aliens from Medicaid, and then they'll cry that millions of people are going to lose their coverage. But no, it's just another emotionally manipulating argument. That's not the reality. It never was, especially when it comes to Medicaid. This is Scott Bessent.
What do you tell the nearly 12 million people that are on the brink of losing access to Medicaid?
Well, no, again, that's not right. 1.4 million are illegal aliens. Then a huge percent of that are the able-bodied working people who will need to go back to work. So we're going to have a work requirement, and we'll go from there. We're just going back to the levels pre-COVID.
Yeah, and I think we could even go a bit further, to be perfectly honest with you. There used to be a time in this country where getting a government handout was shameful. You didn't want it. Now it seems like there's a whole class of people who are going to be pissed if they don't get that government handout. We need to go back. We can't take care of everyone all the time, especially when they have the ability and the means to take care of themselves. But the bottom line is the big, beautiful bill is going to be a topic of conversation over these next couple of days. Are they going to take away Medicaid from people who need it? No, they're not. Don't listen to the Democrats when they tell you that. Are they going to take away Medicaid from illegal aliens and people that could work? Yes, they will. That's a good thing. We got a lot more to cover on the way. Anything you want to add to the conversation, 615-737-9986. You can text on that number. You can call on that number. You can also jump into the YouTube chat. We're live on Super Talk TV over on YouTube. Hit like, hit subscribe, join the conversation that way. We got a lot more to cover. Chris Hand in for Matt Murphy on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Efficient Heating and Cooling understands it's just going to get hotter from here. You probably know that too. Let Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling cool you off if you're not being cooled appropriately or properly in your home right now. By calling Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling, you'll get a qualified technician that understands your unit. They also understand that maintenance is of the utmost importance when it comes to making sure that everything's going to run well over the summertime months and for as long as possible. And that is key, too, because there's a life cycle to your air conditioner. And if you get regular maintenance, you're going to extend that life cycle, and ultimately it's going to save you a lot of money because the breakdowns, they can cost a little more. Now, they don't cost as more with Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling because they never charge you overtime rates at Efficient Heating and Cooling. Call 615-784-4424 and talk to them about their maintenance guarantee. If they come out and maintenance your AC during the summer, during this season, if they have to come back because of an AC problem, they're going to waive the service charge on that call. That's how much they believe in the maintenance done at Efficient Heating and Cooling. Go to efficienthvac.net, efficienthvac.net, or call 615-784-4424.
Spring Hill City Hall evacuated due to a bomb threat. Metro Police investigating after a toddler is shot in the head in West Nashville. And we got the votorama going on in the U.S. Senate on the big, beautiful bill. These stories and more at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. Headlines on the way, less than 5 minutes. My name's Chris Hand. I'm in for Matt Murphy. We got Jackson in the producer studio, making sure everything sounds great coming out of the speakers. Wherever you're listening to us, we appreciate you. If you're on iHeartRadio, tune in, the FM dial. If you're watching us on Super Talk TV, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, we love you. We appreciate you. Okay, so did you see, I missed this while I was show prepping. Did you see Donald Trump call out AT&T on True Social?
No.
Okay, so...
Why did I not bring that up today?
Somebody just sent me this. It just happened about, I don't know, like an hour ago. Somebody sent me this. So he was going to do a conference call with faith leaders from all over the country.
Yeah.
And somebody sent me a tweet. My friend Aaron sent me a tweet, and this person said, "LOL, this is the worst customer service review in the history of the world." And it's just a picture of Trump's True Social post. So if you can throw that on the screen for the YouTube guys, it says, "Listen to this. He's just a savage. He's always a savage. I'm doing a major conference call with faith leaders from all over the country, and AT&T is totally unable to make their equipment work properly. This is the second time it's happened. If the boss of AT&T, whoever that may be, could get involved, it would be good. There are tens of thousands of people on the line." If the boss of AT&T could get involved.
Wow.
And then he followed up. There was a part two. And he said, "I apologize for the long wait on the faith leaders conference call. AT&T ought to get its act together. Please pass along the word to the tens of thousands of people who are there. We may have to reschedule the call, but we'll use another carrier next time. AT&T obviously doesn't know what they're doing."
Oh, my.
Do me a solid. Check on the AT&T stock before the end of the day, because I feel like it's going to nosedive after this.
Oh, wow.
Wait. They are doing their own phone service, right? Isn't that what they were going to do? They're going to get Trump Mobile or something like that?
I'm not sure.
Do you think he's low key?
Active.
It's active already? Do you think he's low key trying to take out the other cell providers? This would have never happened on Trump Mobile. It would have been crystal clear.
It looks like, if what I'm looking at, it looks like they're up today.
Not for long. Not for long. You screw up another conference call.
Wow.
All of that's going to be gone. He said, if the boss of AT&T, whoever that may be, could get involved, it would be good.
Whoever that may be.
If you could get involved, it would be good. It would be good.
We may have to reschedule the call, but we'll use another carrier.
We'll use somebody else next time. Make no mistake about that. He did eventually get on this conference call with faith leaders, and he had a lot to say on the call, talking about how we're so close to the 250th anniversary of America's founding and how great that is going to be. This is just a little taste of him on that call. And granted, the service may be bad.
But now we're getting ready to celebrate the 4th of July this week, and we're just 1 year away from the biggest anniversary we've had so far, 250th anniversary of America's founding, and America's pastors and faith community leaders are going to be a big part of it. I'm going to bring them very heavily into the celebration. You were such a big part of this country becoming successful. In fact, one of the things that we see happening, we have a country that a year ago was virtually a failed country. People pouring through the borders, men playing in women's sports, transgender for everybody. Think of it. Their jails were being emptied out into our country. Their gang members were being put into our country from Venezuela, from all over the world, not just South America. They were all over the world. They were destroying our country.
I mean, I'm sure what he said was perfect and correct and great. I just couldn't hear it. Whoever the boss is of AT&T should really fix that. That would be great. Hey, on the way, a lot more talk about Medicaid inside that one big, beautiful bill. The left wants you to think that it's going to be completely gutted. The right says, not so fast. We'll cover that after the headlines with Ken Weaver on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
3:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Right now in Middle Tennessee, police and fire crews telling everybody stay away from Spring Hill City Hall. It had to be evacuated this afternoon due to a bomb threat. Here in Nashville, Metro Police investigating after a toddler was shot in the head with a gun that was not properly secured. Apparently, the toddler shot themselves. The call went out just after noon today in the Nations. The child rushed to the hospital. Neighbors telling Channel 4.
That's why I try to really talk to as many kids around here as I can. And then just to hear about the 3-year-old getting hurt. So I probably know, like, his cousins and brothers and stuff. So I don't even... Yeah, that's crazy, though, man. My feelings hurt.
Metro Police waiting for more information from youth services detectives who are investigating to figure out how that 3-year-old got the gun. Got some breaking news out of our nation's capital. President Trump will host Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli prime minister, for talks next Monday. This is as the U.S. is pressing for a ceasefire and hostage deal between Israel and Hamas. That's from the Associated Press. And then The Hill is reporting that President Trump has signed an order dismantling decades of sanctions against Syria. And senators on Capitol Hill expected to vote and debate into the night today on the sweeping budget and tax bill known as the Big Beautiful Bill. It would make permanent President Trump's tax cuts from 2017. Not clear whether Senate Republicans will all vote yes. Some critics say the bill cuts too much from programs like Medicaid. Other critics, the hard-line fiscal hawks, say the bill doesn't cut enough. Here's Jay O'Brien.
To pay for those, Republicans are cutting things like Medicaid by imposing new work requirements, as well as dealing with something called the provider tax, which helps states fund their various Medicaid obligations. They've also got new work requirements that are imposed on SNAP, food assistance, and it changes the funding mechanism for the first time in SNAP's history and makes states have to pay more for their various SNAP programs by either a 5 to 25% percentage.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Okay, over by the airport, TDOT says there is a stalled vehicle off on the right shoulder. That's going to be 40 eastbound past Briley Parkway. Then Talbot's Corner, 65 southbound at Trinity Lane. Police reporting a crash. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center wants to see you. Dr. Brian McLaughlin is now in charge of the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center, and he comes with the same exceptional credentials as Dr. Stephen Poss, who started the company so many years ago. With 2 locations in Murfreesboro and Brentwood to serve you, if you can't wear a CPAP machine and have mild to moderate sleep apnea, there is an FDA-approved oral device that gently supports your jaw. It helps you be able to breathe better, snore less, without any hose and any mask. Friends, many people have met their insurance deductibles, and if you want to maximize your insurance, don't wait. Start treating your sleep apnea and snoring today. They're in network with BCBS, Aetna, Cigna, United Healthcare, Medicare. They're a preferred provider with TRICARE for our military. Once again, 2 locations to serve you at your convenience, Brentwood and Murfreesboro. Go see Brian McLaughlin and his team today. At TennesseeSleep.com, you can find out more information. Once again, Murfreesboro and Brentwood, TennesseeSleep.com. That's TennesseeSleep.com.
337 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand in for Matt Murphy, who should be back after the 4th of July break. Wishing Matt a speedy recovery. He's got that new shoulder in, and he should be up to speed in no time. In the meantime, we got Ken Weaver in the newsroom. We got Action Jackson producing the show, and I'll be hanging out with you until 7 o'clock. We got a lot to get to. Anything you want to talk about, 615-737-9986. You can listen to us on iHeartRadio, tune in the FM dial. You can watch us. Super Talk TV is live. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, personal favorites, YouTube. Hit like, hit subscribe. Why do you want to listen to a radio show or watch a radio show on your TV? Well, for this reason, all of the audio that you hear on your radio will have video elements for you on the YouTube stream and some other visual aids as we need them, memes and things. They'll be posted up there. We were talking about the big, beautiful bill. A lot on the left just want to fearmonger, and they're really sinking their teeth into the Medicaid argument of it. I think it's the easiest thing that they can go to for emotional manipulation and fear-mongering tactics. So they're going to continue to rely on it heavily. The truth of the matter is the right is not going to gut Medicare and Medicaid. It's not going to happen. Kevin Hassett, the NEC director, talked about that today.
The bottom line is that we're not taking away anybody's Medicaid. We're definitely not taking away anybody's Medicare. What we're doing is we're going after waste, fraud, and abuse, and there's a heck of a lot of it out there. A lot of budget savings have been found by people really in the House, in the Senate, not just conservatives, moderates agree that there's a lot of money that can be saved. And the bottom line is that we're, in the end, going to balance this budget, and we've got to balance this budget by getting rid of waste, fraud, abuse, and we're going to do it.
Okay,
and we've also got all this revenue coming in from the 3% growth, which will be an extra $4 trillion in revenue. We've got $2.8 trillion in tariff revenue coming in as well. So the idea that this is fiscally irresponsible is also incorrect.
Okay,
We're not taking your Medicaid. We're not taking your Medicare. And also the idea that this is fiscally irresponsible is not correct. Again, that's Kevin Hassett, NEC director. And I'm here for it. Listen, if they do believe that their estimates are correct, this bill is going to pay for itself. Take it with a grain of salt. I don't necessarily know it's going to pay for itself. I tend to not think it's going to be the disaster prediction, the doom predictions that you hear where it's going to tank us completely. But on the Medicare side, on the Medicaid side, let's continue down this road. Senator Jim Banks on Medicare.
That's a big part of this bill, too. You think about people who go to work every day and pay taxes, and then there are 5 million Americans who get Medicaid who are able-bodied. They sit at home. They don't work. They're not taking care of a sick kid or a sick mom, and they're still on Medicaid. Medicaid is expanding every day, and there's a big cost to that. So let's reform Medicaid and save it for those people who need it. But let's make sure that people who are able-bodied go to work every day and don't get things for free.
Amen. I mean, listen, it sounds simple. It sounds simple enough. But there are some people who are going to tell you that there's no waste, fraud, or abuse in Medicare and Medicaid altogether, which is just the silliest thing that you could ever possibly say. But they'll say it. I would point them to this article from the AP that I found today. This is a wild story. More than 300 charged in $14.6 billion healthcare fraud schemes takedown, Justice Department says. This was just announced today. The AP put the story out about 2:30 our time. Washington. State and federal prosecutors have charged more than 320 people and uncovered nearly $15 billion in false claims in what they described Monday as the largest coordinated takedown of a healthcare fraud scheme in Justice Department history. Law enforcement seized more than $245 million in cash, luxury vehicles, cryptocurrency, and other assets as prosecutors warned of a growing push by transnational criminal networks to exploit the U.S. healthcare system. As part of the sweeping crackdown, officials identified perpetrators based in Russia, Eastern Europe, Pakistan, and other countries. These criminals didn't just steal someone else's money, they stole from you. Matthew Galati, who leads the Justice Department Criminal Division, told reporters, every fraudulent claim, every fake billing, every kickback scheme represents money taken directly from the pockets of American taxpayers who fund these essential programs through their hard work and sacrifice. The alleged $14.6 billion in fraud is more than twice the previous record in the Justice Department's annual healthcare fraud crackdown. It includes nearly 190 federal cases and more than 90 state cases that have been charged or unsealed since June 9th. Nearly 100 licensed medical professionals were charged, including 25 doctors, and the government reported $2.9 billion in actual losses. Among the cases is a $10 billion bribery urinary catheter scheme that authorities say highlights the increasingly sophisticated methods used by transnational criminal organizations. Authorities say the group behind the scheme used foreign straw owners to secretly buy up dozens of medical supply companies and then use stolen identities and confidential health data to file fake Medicare claims. 19 defendants have been charged as part of that investigation, which authorities dubbed Operation Gold Rush, including 4 people arrested in Estonia, 7 people arrested at U.S. airports at the border with Mexico. Prosecutors said the scheme involved stolen identities and personal information of more than 1 million Americans, according to the Justice Department. These guys are taking the fraud, waste, and abuse serious. This is just one sign of that. Dr. Oz was talking about this earlier today. You know, Dr. Oz is the head of Medicare, Medicaid, and he's not shocked by the fraud that they're seeing in the system.
When you walk into the Health and Human Services building not far from here, there's a quote from Hubert Humphrey, from whom the building is named, and it says, "It is the moral obligation of government," that's what we're doing here today, "it's the moral obligation of government to protect those who are at the dawn of their life, our children, those at the twilight of their life, our seniors, and those living in the shadows, folks who are having trouble like the substance use disorder mentioned a second ago by Juliet." I want to applaud all the agencies that collaborated today, because when President Trump signed the executive order on fraud, waste, and abuse, a pledge to crush this reality, this is exactly what he had in mind. At Health and Human Services, under leadership of Secretary Kennedy, we have strived to break down barriers and silos in every way possible. What you're witnessing on stage today is exactly that. The American government at its best, making sure all of us work together for the same common purpose, in this case especially, expressly to protect those who are our most vulnerable.
Now, I would tend to think that some of the left, the Democrats and the like, especially given John Fetterman's current status as persona non grata in the Democrat Party, that maybe they would have thought it would be better to have Dr. Oz in that Senate seat as opposed to John Fetterman, because Dr. Oz is an absolute pit bull over at Medicaid and Medicare, and he's going to uncover a lot of this waste, fraud, and abuse like he's doing here.
All great societies are judged by how they take care of those who are vulnerable, and we are great people. We will do that. So to the OIG, the DOJ, who's hosting us, the FBI, DEA, and other agencies that were engaged. And let me ask Kim standing in the back. Kim Grant runs, Chief Operating Officer and Deputy Administrator at CMS. She runs the fraud unit, and I'll speak about some of the work she and her team have been doing in my comments today. It is, and you'll hear this said by all of us, and we should, the largest Department of Justice health care fraud takedown in history. The fact that it's even possible that you could have $15 billion to play in this endeavor is shameful. But that's how we're being attacked now, and it's not done by small-time operators. As you're hearing about and you will read about, these are organized syndicates who are designing to hurt America. And why do they hurt our healthcare system? Well, CMS is probably the largest target of all, responsible for about $1.7 trillion of disbursements. So it's a big target on our side. And they can pierce the veil of protection by just getting identifier numbers from our seniors or Medicaid recipients or others, and thus use those tools, use you, the American people, to hurt us. What we're doing today is changing the paradigm. Not just going after bad guys and putting them behind bars, but actually getting ahead of these schemes so the money never leaves our bank account.
This is it's really a wild turn of events, and one that you think should have happened many, many years ago. Yet, for some reason, it just got swept under the rug over and over and over again. As many of us knew, at least somewhere deep inside of us, that this kind of stuff is happening. And at what scale, who knows? But you got $15 billion in fraud. Think about what's going to happen and how efficient we're going to be running when we can eliminate this kind of BS and at the same time remove illegal aliens from the Medicare and Medicaid rolls, and at the same time remove Americans who don't need those benefits, who could be working from those rolls. A lot of people talks about the debt in this nation, and it's like we can save a lot of money right here. Dr. Oz is laying it all out.
Because by the time we find out that these criminals have stolen and the money has left the building, it's already offshore somewhere in some foreign country's vaults where foreign leaders are rejoicing in the fact they took advantage of the American people. That's why we use the word crushing fraud, waste, and abuse. Because this is not just a nice thing to do in an accounting pickup that we can claw back money. It doesn't happen that easily. And this is a modern era. There are modern tools being used to attack us, and we need even more modern ways, including AI, which I'll speak about in a second.
So $15 billion in fraud, 300 individuals taken down, and this is just the beginning. So remember this when people are saying, oh, there's no waste, fraud, and abuse in Medicare. Okay. Sure. There's a lot. The Democrats are definitely going to lean in on this. This is going to be a favored talking point of them when it comes to speaking out against the big, beautiful bill. So what do we know about the big, beautiful bill? Well, it passed the Senate over the weekend, advanced 51-49. But then what happens next? What happens next? Well, you can call it the home stretch. That's how the New York Post puts it. The Republicans are finally in the home stretch of passing the one big, beautiful bill through Congress after months of intense negotiating and legislative work. 51-49 was the vote late Saturday night to proceed with the mega bill, kicking off a lengthy procedural process to eventually pass it as soon as Monday if GOP leadership can keep enough Republicans on board. Once the mega bill clears the Senate, it heads back to the House, where it will need to pass the lower chamber once again before it can land on President Trump's desk for a signature. President Trump and the GOP leaders have imposed a deadline to get the bill signed on the 4th of July. However, even the commander-in-chief, who has worked hard to whip his narrow majority into passing the legislation, admitted in a Fox News interview on Sunday that the timeline may not be possible. The bill does have a hard deadline, the debt ceiling, which is set to be reached in August or September, according to estimates. The bill must be passed by then in order to raise the U.S. government's borrowing limit, currently set at $36.1 trillion. Here's what's going to happen between then and now. For starters, they're going to read the bill. They're going to read every single page of it. I think the estimate said it's going to take 17 hours to read this bill. 17 hours. From there, we get debate. Senate will debate on the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which that could take up to 20 hours. Those 20 hours can be evenly split between both Dems and Republicans. Democrats are likely to use all the time to bash the cuts of Medicaid and their green energy subsidies, which Republicans are using to help offset some of the spending. Republicans are expected to use some of their time to tout the bill's accomplishments, like hiring border agents and funding ICE deportation raids. GOP senators may not choose to use their full time in order to expedite the process. From there, New York Post says vote-a-rama. There'll be a vote-a-rama in the Senate in which senators will go through a flurry of amendments on the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. One closely watched amendment from Senator Rick Scott out of Florida would lower the federal medical assistance percentage, the FMAP, which determines the percentage of Medicaid costs covered by Uncle Sam. Scott's amendment would lower the FMAP for able-bodied childless adults. The amendment has been used to win over fiscal hawks such as Senator Ron Johnson, who had threatened to vote against the mega bill due to concerns about the deficit. From there, it's got to pass the Senate. Once that's completed, Senate holds a vote on the bill itself. This could come as soon as midday today. They're nearing that final vote currently, according to CNN. From there, it's got to pass the House, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. If it clears the Senate today, we'll head back to the House for consideration. House Republicans passed the mega bill back in May, but because the Senate has since overhauled it, the measure will need to clear the lower chamber again. After all of that, if everything goes swimmingly and everything goes according to plan and all the ducks are in a row, then Trump signs it. It's going to be a long process. May not happen before the 4th of July, though sometimes when you have these deadlines in place, magical things happen in D.C. We'll keep you posted on all the latest right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, folks. Matt Murphy for Savory Spice. Savory Spice is located in Franklin. They've been there for quite some time, right off the square next to Gray's Pharmacy. I encourage you to go say hello to Holly and David. Oftentimes, they're the owners, by the way, of Savory Spice, and you'll see them in the shop assisting customers just like you, finding the right spices or seasonings for just the right flavor. If you're looking for something in particular and you can't find it at the less than spice shops, you need to get to Savory Spice because odds are they've got it and they can get it if they don't. Plus, they have all the great grilling flavors for the summertime. Did you know that today is the first official day of summer? It's true. Today or tomorrow is the longest day of the year. One way or the other, a lot of grilling going on in and around Middle Tennessee, and it's time to grill with the best. Grill with Savory Spice. You up your food game, friends, by upping your spice game. And like I like to say, you up your spice game at Savory Spice. Go see them, say I said hello, and maybe stock up for the summertime or for the just because with the one and only Savory Spice.
All right, we got a city hall here in Middle Tennessee that's been evacuated due to a bomb threat. Metro Police investigating after a toddler was shot in the head. President Trump to hold a high-level meeting next week at the White House in hopes of ending the war in Gaza. These stories and more at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. 357 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. I got this weird text from my dad. Really threw me off.
Okay, hopefully it's good news.
It's like to me and my two sisters, and none of us, nobody lives with these guys. They're on their own. And he's like, hey, did any of you order water on Amazon? I'm like, what the hell does that mean?
Well, I got to look that up, man. Maybe there's some sort of recall.
I think he just got water sent to his house, and he's just very confused about it. I don't know, Dad. I'm doing a radio show, Dad.
Did you order any water recently?
No, I don't think so.
I saw something today that there's apparently some sort of scam going around where people are getting packages and things that they don't know anything about.
Really?
But I have not heard it being water.
Sounds like a very positive scam.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what's in the package, man.
I guess so. I guess it's not like the swatting technique where they send the pizzas beforehand.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, sorry, Dad. Nothing, can't help you, but
drink up.
Yeah, enjoy that core hydration water. Kenny wants to talk about the big beautiful bill. What's up, Kenny?
Actually, I wanted to talk about them reading the big beautiful bill.
Okay, talk to me.
I think that all of these long bills should be read in their entirety.
Amen.
I am still extraordinarily pissed that the Republicans didn't force the reading of Obamacare on Christmas Eve before it got passed, because I think that Harry Reid would have caved, except that Mitch McConnell and Lamar Alexander prioritized getting home and carving up the Christmas goose ahead of protecting the American people from socialized medicine.
Yeah, no, dude, I'm with you, and I love the long memory, Kenny. I do. Don't let it go, man. I appreciate the call, 615-737-9986, if you want to join the conversation. The people do want to get home. Did you hear Fetterman when it comes to the reading the big, beautiful bill? He's literally on camera going, I already missed my entire trip to the beach.
Did you get any clues on the floor about what time this might wrap?
Oh my God! I just want to go home. I've missed our entire trip to the beach. My family's going to be back before we get.
Oh, so sad. Do your work.
That's being a congressman.
Do your job. You guys get so much time off. You think I'm going to be sad that you missed your beach trip? No, I'm not. I'm not sad at all. In fact, no more beach trips until morale improves. It's 4 o'clock. Chris Hand, in for Matt Murphy. Listen, you got to join us on the YouTube stream. You'll get video for all the audio you hear on your radio. Hit like, hit subscribe. Super Talk 99.7 WTN on YouTube. We'll be back in moments. Ken Weaver's got the latest headlines for you now on WTN.
Four o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Middle Tennessee, Spring Hill City Hall evacuated due to a bomb threat today. Police and fire crews telling everybody stay away from the area until further notice. Here in Nashville, Metro Police investigating after a toddler was accidentally shot in the head with a gun that was reportedly not properly secured. Channel 4's Brendan Tierney reports it went out. The call went out just afternoon in the Nations today, and the child rushed to the hospital.
Neighbors told me off camera that they wouldn't let their kids play with this family because there was never a parent around watching them. The detectives have been out here today talking with family members along with other people in the area. We are told that Metro Police are waiting for more information from the Youth Services detectives who are investigating this case to figure out how that 3-year-old got the gun, and they're figuring out if any charges might have to be filed in this case.
News out of D.C. President Trump will have Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House next week for talks on ending the war in Gaza. Also today, President Trump signing an executive order ending decades of sanctions against Syria. One more thing. The pilots who flew the Iran bombing mission going to be at the White House for July 4th. Senators on Capitol Hill expected to be voting and debating into the night on the sweeping budget and tax bill known as the Big Beautiful Bill. We get more from ABC's Jay O'Brien.
Right now, the Senate is in this vote-a-rama, right? It's voting on a series of amendments that Democrats are putting forward to try to change this legislation that will be unsuccessful, and some amendments that Republicans are putting forward to cut even more, like a Rick Scott proposed amendment to enact further cuts onto Medicaid. Unclear if he's got the support in his own ranks among Senate Republicans to get that over the goal line.
Yeah, this just coming down. ABC News says that Elon Musk says he would back challengers to members of Congress who vote for President Trump's big, beautiful bill. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney said late Sunday trade talks with the U.S. have resumed after Canada rescinded its plan to tax U.S. technology firms.
Canada said it will resume trade talks with the U.S. after the Canadian government said it wouldn't move forward with the digital services tax. That tax was estimated to cost U.S. tech companies billions of dollars. President Trump last week called the tax a, quote, direct and blatant attack and said he would end all trade talks with Canada over it, even signaling he would announce new tariff rates on Canada in the next week. There is currently a 25% tariff on some goods from Canada, as well as 50% tariffs on steel and aluminum. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
And just in time for the end of this newscast, we just got an update on the Spring Hill bomb threat. News Channel 5 is reporting that police say City Hall is now clear there in Spring Hill after that bomb threat. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, over by the airport, TDOT's reporting a stalled vehicle off on the right shoulder. That'll be 40 eastbound, just past Briley Parkway. Then in Franklin, TDOT says there's a crash on the left shoulder, 65 southbound at 840. Looking over here in Dixon, Highway Patrol says there's a crash 40 eastbound near I-840. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
406 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. I'm in for Matt Murphy. I'm thinking the same thing you're thinking. Is it Murphy that yells "cut it" in that song?
I think so.
I think it is Murphy, right?
I don't know. I'm so new.
I think that is Brother Murphy. It sounds like Brother Murphy.
If it's not him, I don't want to be told it's not. Let me just put that out there. I'd rather hang out with the fantasy. You guys doing any decorating for 4th of July?
I haven't even thought about that, Brother Chris.
Do people decorate for 4th of July?
You guys don't decorate for 4th of July?
I got to go out and get some little American flags.
Not only do I decorate for 4th of July, I got into a debate about what constitutes a 4th of July decoration or not last night with the wife.
You know what? I believe that wholeheartedly.
I literally said to her, I said, we were looking for the garden flag. All right?
Oh, yeah,
so,
yeah.
You go, well, that's starters. You got to get the seasonal garden flag out.
Yes.
And we couldn't find the 4th of July garden flag, and I knew there was one in there because I got her the 12-pack. One for each month.
Right.
So I know we got one. But what I found before the 4th of July was the Trump garden flag.
Oh.
And I said we should just put this out. And my wife said to me, "That's not 4th of July." And I said, "What's more patriotic than Trump?" And then my 7-year-old got in on it. And he goes, "Yeah, Dad's right." And I was like, boom, you're getting whatever you want for your birthday. And then my wife says, no. And then she found the 4th of July flag. So, but
that's a nice flag.
We decorate. And we also, I take down the regular American flag and I put up the tea-stained 13 stars, the old Betsy Ross.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
you got to do that. And the kids right now, in our neighborhood, they decorate the little island common areas with American flags. So like my kids go out there and they stick all the flags in the ground.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we decorate. You don't decorate?
I just never have, man.
Nope. Big fireworks guy.
But now I'm thinking I might have to start a new tradition.
You want to be mistaken for a commie, do you?
Dude, have you seen this? Apparently there is a flag with President Trump holding some sparklers.
Ooh.
With the American flag behind him.
Yo. That's another one I want, and I try to talk the wife into it. I want to get a nice big 3x5 of Trump on a tank.
You were vetoed, you say.
I was trying to work that in right before November of 2024.
Yeah.
And best I got was a garden flag. I can't do that, but what I can do is we can do the garden flag. All right, I'll take the garden flag. You got to go for the big ask. That way you can get something that everybody can agree on.
Look at all these flags, man. There's a lot of them.
You got to do it.
Well, I'll be.
Ken's going to do some online shopping during the break.
You got to step up your 4th of July decoration game.
I want to have to, man.
You're gonna have to. Especially, I mean, listen, we've had a lot of big wins, but this 4th of July, it's the first 4th of July that we've ever had with the greatest mass deportation effort that we've ever seen. 4th of July just for citizens this year, and I'm here for it. Now, we got some big news today. This is a wild story and one that I think you guys are going to like a lot. Border czar Tom Homan confirmed today in an interview with Benny Johnson that one Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is under investigation. Ooh.
Just one final question, Mr. Border czar, and it has to do with the region of New York and somebody who's in the news a lot lately because she's most likely planning on running for higher office. It'd be Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. AOC has come and what looks like to us crossed the line a number of times, but two very curious stories out of her office. One, as soon as you were able to regain your position as border czar, AOC had a criminal alien who was working in her congressional staff flee the country. Now, I can't quite square how that's possible. How is somebody allowed to be a criminal alien in this country and then go work in Congress where you have access to classified material and you have access to a lot of important information? And then AOC has gone on and obviously taught publicly illegal aliens how to avoid ICE. She's done this with some of her colleagues in the squad. Here's the article of the criminal alien staffer that AOC had on staff. Maybe you could just start here and as an explainer to me and to this audience, like, how's this even possible?
It's not possible, and I know that's being looked at. I can't comment on past that.
Ooh, I know that's being looked at. Can't comment on it, but I know that's being looked at. So essentially, Tom Homan is confirming that there's an investigation on AOC.
I'm aware of it. We've asked ICE to drill in on that case. It's my information that there were actually, I can't really comment on it. We don't know if it was an illegal status or not at this point. It looks like it might have been temporary status, but I can't comment on the case. It's under investigation. As far as her educating people how to evade ICE arrest, she's really educating them on how to be prosecuted, because there are statutes on the books, federal statute, when you knowingly hinder your removal. That's a crime. When you take steps to prevent your removal after being ordered removed by a federal judge, it's a crime. We have instructed ICE to start prosecuting these cases. If you don't want to open the door, and we have a final order removal, if you don't want to participate in getting travel documents from your home nation, you take steps to hinder your own removal, that it's a crime, you'd be prosecuted. So she can claim she's educating people to constitutional rights. I'd argue she's educating many people on how to be prosecuted. You're going to see that happening.
Now let's go. Tom, I'm here for it. Please. It'd be a 4th of July miracle if we get it announced officially. If we could do it on the 4th.
Woo, a 4th of July miracle.
What? You wouldn't appreciate that?
No, I'm just it's going along the lines of a Christmas miracle.
Yeah, oh yeah. You got to be good all year round.
Miracle on Pennsylvania Avenue.
You got to leave out some salmon for the bald eagle. and then if as long as you've been patriotic and obeyed the Constitution all year,
yes, sir, you
may get a prosecution of AOC. It's just, it's simple. Don't forget to leave out the salmon for the eagle. So, that's key. I think CNN needs to be investigated too. CNN, they ran a story talking about, it's called Ice Block, this new app called Ice Block, where they're reporting on where ICE is at any given moment, and CNN is essentially inciting violence by running this story on their network. So I don't think Tom Homan knows about this yet, but I could imagine he's not going to be a happy camper. I don't know if he's ever truly happy. I don't know if you'd ever run into Tom Homan and be like, wow, he seems gleeful today. But I don't think that this is going to make him gleeful.
The Trump administration steps up ICE raids and mass deportations. One tech developer is pushing back with an app designed to track ICE activity in real time. It's called Ice Block, and it's controversial to say the least. CNN's Claire Duffy is with us now. How does this work, Claire?
Well, I would start, for starters, saying, how does it work that CNN is essentially promoting an app that helps individuals evade law enforcement? Would this be okay in any other situation? The answer is no. It's no. You would never have an app for fans of arson letting them know where the fire department is at any given moment. You wouldn't. This is okay, though. And CNN is going to promote this on their airways. Tell us about the app.
Claire, and what are the legal implications?
Yeah, John, I talked with Joshua Aaron, who is the longtime tech worker who developed this platform, and he said he really wants it to be an early warning system for people about the location of Immigrations and Customs Enforcement officers.
An early warning system for criminals to evade law enforcement. Got it.
So he says he does not want people interfering with those officers' activity, but he does want people to be able to avoid them altogether if they want. So
plausible deniability. I don't want them to interfere. Of course not. Got it.
You open the app, it looks like a map, and users can tap the map to report an ICE sighting in their area, and then everybody who uses the platform within 5 miles of that sighting will get a push alert. This is a free iPhone app. It is anonymous. Aaron says he doesn't collect any user data. And what I think is really interesting about this in this moment is we've seen so many of the biggest leaders in tech supporting President Trump, but Aaron is sort of an example of the fact that there are people within the tech industry who are really resistant to Trump's policies. I asked him what he would say to those tech leaders who, for example, were at the inauguration. Here's what he told me. Take a listen.
I understand that you have shareholders to report to. I understand that you have employees that need their paychecks. But at what point do you say enough is enough?
And John, I should say that ICE did not respond when I asked them about this platform and about Aaron's opposition to their activity.
I mean, it's honestly ridiculous. CNN is promoting an app that is helping people avoid or interfere with law enforcement. This is going to put law enforcement officers' lives at risk. CNN has no issue with that. What about Apple? Does Apple face any legal ramifications here by allowing an app in their store that is quite literally going to put law enforcement officers' lives at risk? Again, would this be okay in any other situation? No, it wouldn't. Apple should pull this from their app store immediately. Android as well if it's there. Trump should get on the phone with Steve Cook today and say that needs to be taken down. Somebody's going to lose their life over this. It's not a game. It's not funny. If these cities didn't want ICE enforcement on their street, they could make it safer for everyone and let them pick up the illegal aliens in the jails. They don't do it. They don't do it. Carolyn Levitt was asked about this today during her press briefing, and she's not happy about it. This is the first time that she had heard about this app, and I imagine that this is going to be rocketed up the chain over at the White House, and they're going to get to the bottom of it very, very quickly.
I just watched a CNN segment on a new app called ICE Block, and it kind of appeared to be promoting this app where you can tell people where ICE agents are. Given the recent rise...
An app that tells people where ICE agents are?
Yes. And given the rise, I believe, 500% increase in assaults on ICE agents, I wanted to see if you could comment on that and why CNN would be promoting such an app.
Well, it's a very good question. I'll have to go back and watch the clip myself, but surely it sounds like this would be an incitement of further violence against our ICE officers. As you know, as you stated, there's been a 500% increase in violence against ICE agents, law enforcement officers across the country who are just simply trying to do their jobs and remove public safety threats from our communities. And that's something we as Americans, including journalists at CNN who live in many of these cities where illegal aliens are hiding and were let in from the previous administration, should be very grateful for. So we haven't seen the clip. We'll take a look at it, but certainly it's unacceptable that a major network would promote such an app that is encouraging violence against law enforcement officers who are trying to keep our country safe.
Yeah, honestly. And I also like to point out just another instance of social media really leading the news cycle. Now, CNN did report that, but it went viral on social media. We all know, like 300 people watch CNN at any given moment. So that's not going to spread like wildfire because it aired on CNN. But it was the X app that really blew this story up to the point where it's being brought to Carolyn Levitt in the press briefing today for the first time. And she looked irate. If you were watching on Super Talk TV, you could see the facial expression that she made when she receives that news. She's pissed. She's pissed. And she has every right to be pissed. Somebody's going to lose their life over this. I did see, I got one text here. 8642. Oh, nope, not 8642. Oh, 3347. This may be the best way to deal with this until it's removed from the App Store. 3347 texted and said, I think we should all download the app and just start clicking. ICE is everywhere. That way, none of the information on it would ever be credible. Until they take it down from the App Store, that may be the best course of action, 3347. And I'm going to download the app, and I'm going to report an ICE raid right here at 10 Music Circle East during the commercial break, because I think your idea is fantastic. 421, Chris Hand, in for Matt Murphy. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Friends, how much do you pay for health insurance? If you don't know the answer off the top of your head, might I recommend you call Shane Ring at Cover Nash? Shane's not one to sell you or upsell you on products that you don't need, but you need an expert in your corner to examine the health insurance marketplace and make sure that you're not overpaying. I don't know, and honestly, if I didn't have Shane Ring in my corner, I don't think I would know. if I'm overpaying or not. But with Shane on your side, you can find out. He sits down with you and shops the entire health plan market, so you know every health plan that's available. And he can get you a plan that has a deductible as low as $250. I know. You think you heard me incorrectly. You heard me correctly. Call Shane Ring and ask him about it, and you don't have to wait till open enrollment either. Don't get taken advantage of and don't overpay. Take control of your money. Take control of your health coverage managed by you and never by the government. Go to covernash.com. That's covernash.com, or call 615-465-0023. 465-0023.
Well, News Channel 5 says Spring Hill City Hall has been cleared after that bomb threat today forced an evacuation. Metro Police investigating after a toddler was shot accidentally today in West Nashville. President Trump hosting Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu next week for talks about ending the war in Gaza. These stories are more at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. We got Jackson producing the entire experience as we fill in for Matt Murphy here for another week. Matt should be back next week. I think he will be. But take the days, Matt. Feel better and come back when you're ready. In the meantime, we're talking about this new app. All the kids are using it. It's the hottest app. It's called Ice Block. CNN's even promoting it. This app lets you know where ICE operations are taking place in a given neighborhood. It'll send a push notification out for anyone within a 5-mile radius using the app that ICE is nearby. Oh. So somebody on the text line, 3347, said, hey, you know what we should do? We should flood the zone. and we should just report that ICE is everywhere. I thought that it's the most brilliant idea. It's the most brilliant idea. Andy texted and he goes, no, this is a CIA app. This is created to help locate illegal aliens. I don't think so, Andy. If you listen to the interview with the creator, he is a soy boy. I mean, 100% soy. and they don't collect any user data. And that's a rarity among apps in the App Store. They don't collect any of your user data. But that's by design because they don't want the illegal aliens using the app to get busted. But you could flood the zone. I saw somebody else say another tip for the app. This is 9029. Another tip for the app. Post ICE in your neighborhood and keep all the illegals away from your house. That's a good idea. Or like you got that neighbor, right? You know, everybody's got that one neighbor. He's like, he's putting an addition on the house. And then the wife starts going, I wish I had an addition on the house. And you go, oh, really? Boom. That addition just stopped. So there's a lot of uses for the app.
Have you downloaded it yet?
So I went to download it, but I never update my phone.
Oh, okay.
So you got to have like the latest update.
Interesting.
I was gonna start reporting ICE being here. I was. Do you think I could get in trouble for that? I don't think I could.
Well, I don't see why.
Yeah, I'm not filing a false report with any law enforcement agencies.
I don't know. Be careful, dude.
I think flooding the zone is the best strategy until they pull it from the App Store.
Well, that would probably cause them to.
It would make all of the data completely useless for anyone using the app.
But you also wouldn't want to inadvertently actually put information where ICE actually is.
Yeah, you could run into a whoopsie.
Yeah.
So don't report anything in Antioch because that's what I would say. That's what there might be some overlap. So outside of there, Shelbyville, I feel like you're in the green.
Yeah.
You guys are good to go. But, this app is really going to get a lot of use in Los Angeles and in New York City and in Chicago and in these big blue cities where sanctuary city policies have completely run amok. And they have run amok. The Trump administration acknowledges this. The Trump administration is actually suing Los Angeles over their sanctuary city laws after their anti-ICE riots. That lawsuit being reported now by the New York Post. Trump administration sued Los Angeles, its mayor, and other top city officials today, claiming its sanctuary city policies towards illegal migrants discriminates against federal law enforcement. The suit names embattled Mayor Karen Bass and the entire LA City Council, including its president, as defendants, claiming the city's code thwarts immigration authorities from enforcing federal law. Sanctuary city policies and laws are designed to deliberately impede federal immigration officers' ability to carry out their responsibilities in those jurisdictions, the lawsuit reads in part. The Los Angeles ordinance and other policies internally discriminate against the federal government by treating federal immigration authorities differently. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi blasted Tinseltown officials in a statement saying sanctuary policies were the driving cause of the violence, chaos, and attacks on law enforcement that Americans recently witnessed in Los Angeles. Jurisdictions like L.A. that flout federal law enforcement by prioritizing illegal aliens over American citizens are undermining law enforcement at every level. It ends under President Trump. The suit follows violent anti-ICE protests across Los Angeles earlier this month, in which rioters, we all saw the videos, throwing rocks at police officers, scooters, just shutting the city down. This lawsuit is in response to that. I hope they get the pantsuit off of them. Officials estimate the entire cost of the LA riots will exceed $30 million. The lawsuit outlines 3 claims for relief, citing violations of the Constitution's Supremacy Clause. These counts argue that LA's sanctuary city ordinance unlawfully attempts to regulate federal government by singling out immigration officials for unfavorable and uncooperative treatment while prohibiting local law enforcement agencies from complying with valid civil warrants. They also allege that the city discriminates against the federal government by picking and choosing which federal criminal laws it will follow. The suit is asking the court to declare LA's sanctuary city ordinance unlawful and unenforceable and prohibit Bass and Harris Dawson, as well as their successors or employees, from enforcing it. We'll keep you updated on that lawsuit as it proceeds. 431. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Middle Tennessee, Spring Hill City Hall cleared after that bomb threat that forced an evacuation earlier today. Here in Nashville, Metro Police investigating after a toddler shot themselves in the head with a gun that was not properly secured. The call went out just after noon today in the Nations. The child rushed to the hospital. Neighbors telling Channel 4.
That's why I try to really talk to as many kids around here as I can. And then just to hear about the 3-year-old getting hurt. So I probably know, like, his cousins and brothers and stuff. So I don't even... Yeah, that's crazy, though, man. My feelings hurt.
Metro Police said to be waiting for more information from youth services detectives who are investigating to figure out how the 3-year-old got the gun. President Trump hosts Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu next week for talks about ending the war in Gaza.
President Trump is pushing for that. There are signs that Prime Minister Netanyahu is moving in that direction. I don't think he's going to imminently end the war. I think at the moment the consensus amongst analysts here is that we are potentially weeks away from the war ending, not days.
That's Tom Sufi Burridge in Tel Aviv. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt opened today's press briefing with details about the Trump administration's latest deportation detention center. It's the one in the Florida Everglades, and President Trump is going to check it out personally tomorrow.
The facility is in the heart of the Everglades and will be informally known as Alligator Alcatraz. There is only one road leading in, and the only way out is a one-way flight. It is isolated and surrounded by dangerous wildlife and unforgiving terrain.
Plans include a 5,000-bed setup to house and process the deportations. Secretary Leavitt called it efficient and low cost. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, in Franklin, TDOT says there's a crash on the left shoulder, 65 southbound past I-840. And in Dixon, it looks like a crash. Highway Patrol reporting this one, 40 eastbound at I-840. And then back to Franklin, a stalled vehicle blocking the right shoulder, 65 southbound at Cool Springs Boulevard. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy for Men of Valor. Men of Valor is a ministry that is primarily funded by individuals, families, and churches. Individuals just like you. Your support means so much to Men of Valor because it helps win men over to Christ in prison. And in doing so, they become givers in society and not takers. Sadly, so many of the men that go into the prison system, they fall into the gang culture and they further become even more criminally minded. And when they come out of that system, and by the way, 90% of the men that go into prison, they're going to get out at some time or another. When they come out of the system, they're just they're even worse criminals than when they came in. When Men of Valor ministers to men, they turn recidivism rates from over 50% in the state of Tennessee to under 15%. That's an incredible rate of return, and it truly does save us money as taxpayers because it costs a lot of money to incarcerate men within our system. Your support is so crucial, whether it's volunteering in the system, whether it's volunteering in their graduate programs or through your donations. They so appreciate your ability to support Men of Valor and the wonderful ministry that they provide. Go to movministry.com. That's movministry.com for more information.
438 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Chris Hand in for Matt Murphy. Matt should be back next week. We wish him a speedy recovery from his shoulder surgery. We got Ken Weaver in the newsroom. We got Action Jackson producing the entire show. And we got you guys just stepping up, stepping in. 615-737-9986. That's the phone number. That's the text line. And I see you guys over there in the YouTube chat as well. If you're on YouTube, hit like, hit subscribe. We've been talking about Ice Block. Throw this up on the screen for me if you're watching on YouTube. This is the Ice Block app. And I'll tell you what, when you ask the Super Talk audience to file false reports, this audience steps up in a big way every single time. I've gotten so many texts of everybody saying I'm downloading this app and I'm submitting fake reports. So much so that some people are having issues trying to use the app and submit fake reports. So keep going. I know some people
have crash it.
Some people have gotten their reports through, but some have not had the best luck. So just keep making fake ice reports.
Ice is over by the snow cone stand.
Yeah. Also, it's not in the Google. It's not in the Google Play Store. It's not in the Android store.
Okay.
This is just an iPhone app currently. And again, this is been okayed by Apple. Every app that goes through the App Store, has to get approved by Apple. Like they have to go through approval processes. So Tim Cook is okay with this.
I was getting ready to say that could be problematic.
Yeah. What's more problematic? Is it CNN putting it on their newscast and promoting the app under the veil of news? Or is it Apple allowing this to squeak through their approval process?
But I mean, this could be obstruction.
Here's the description. It says, stay informed about ice sightings within a 5-mile radius of your current location in real time while maintaining your privacy. Ice Block is a community-driven app that allows you to share and discover location-based reports without revealing any personal data. Key features: anonymity. Your privacy is our top priority. We do not collect any user information. Real-time updates. View reported sightings within a 5-mile radius of your current location. Community reporting. Easily report sightings and see reports from other users. User-friendly interface. And da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, that's if something happens to one of these agents, that could be a big problem for them.
And how could something not happen to one of these agents?
Right.
Especially in these big blue cities with these radical lefties. I mean, Seattle and Portland have been going just absolutely bananas for weeks with their Antifa members. And we saw what happened in L.A. with the bricks being thrown at the heads of police officers. We saw what happened in Chicago. We've seen what happened in New York. Like, somebody is going to think that they're going to become a hero, and they're going to try and take out one of these ICE officers with a firearm, with something more lethal. And that's not good.
No, it's not. It's very dangerous.
Yeah.
Very dangerous. It's a dangerous enough job.
Yep, it is.
Good grief.
3137 said, can we talk about why you won't update your phone? I don't like being told what to do. I think it really boils down to that. It's like, would you like me to remind you later? I always go, no.
I'm not going to do that.
I don't want to do that.
What version is your phone on right now?
Oh, geez. It's not good. It's not good. Hold on. I'll find you the exact version. It's kind of embarrassing. Would it be under general software update? I mean, I know I have an update.
Yeah.
I am currently on 16. Version 16.
I don't even know what I'm
Let me look.
I don't know what version is the most up to date. I've had bad experiences in the past, though, when you update it and then your iPhone turns into a paperweight.
Yours is about 2.5 years old.
Yeah, it sounds...
I'm on 18 and a half.
Yeah, I don't like this newfangled tech.
All you get is like some, you get like more emojis or something.
Yep. So anyway, download that app, Ice Block, and report ice in your area. Unless they're actually in your area, then don't do it. That's the main point.
Yes, sir.
Only fake reports. Only fake. The Trump administration, they're suing Los Angeles. We talked about that a little while ago. Donald Trump is not holding back when it comes to immigration. He gave a long interview on Fox News over the weekend with Maria Bartiromo, one that only Trump can do. Trump is the best in these situations where he just breaks things down and says them exactly how he's feeling and exactly what he means.
the border is so bad. So much of my time is spent on the border. You know, last month we had no people coming.
I know. Well, what you get.
But the bad part is he let in 21 million people. And we have to check those people. Totally unvetted, totally unchecked. And 11,888 have murdered people. Half of them have murdered more than one person. People come in from gangs, from prisons. They emptied out Venezuela, emptied out its prisons.
And think about this. When people are reporting that ICE is in their neighborhood, that's who they're protecting. Murderers, child rapists, gang members, guys who dabble in extortion, Tren de Aragua members who find it okay to rip the fingernails off of a woman with pliers. That's who these lefties are protecting. Yep. And they have no problem protecting them. Yep. Now, we've seen the Trump administration say, well, we don't care about your feelings. We're going to keep doing what we think is right. And they're going to. The Trump administration has ended temporary protected status for Haitian migrants currently in the U.S. Haiti is going to join Venezuela and having that TPS status removed, opening the door for increased deportations. Fox News has this article. Trump administration's Department of Homeland Security is ending temporary protected status for roughly 520,000 Haitians currently residing in the U.S. The TPS designations for the country will expire on August 3rd, 2025. So August 4th, man, pack your bags. You got to go. Termination will be effective on Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025. This decision restores integrity in our immigration system and ensures that temporary protective status is actually temporary, says a DHS spokesperson. The environmental situation in Haiti has improved enough that it is safe for Haitian citizens to return home. We encourage these individuals to take advantage of the department's resources in returning to Haiti, which can be arranged through the CBP Home app. Yeah, not the CBP One app anymore. Now it's the CBP Home app. Haitian nationals may pursue lawful status through other immigration benefit requests if eligible. That is a key phrase, if eligible. Because if you remember, this was talked about a lot during the campaign, but J.D. Vance famously said, you changed what made people eligible for that temporary protected status. We don't view those Haitians as legally temporary protected status individuals because you changed the definition. You flew them in under the dead of night. No, we're not going to allow that to happen. Trump administration is making strides again. Huge. Where are those Haitians going to go? Alligator Alcatraz would be a great place. Alligator Alcatraz. They're going to start taking people in tomorrow. Alligator Alcatraz is the best story. Like with everything going on, you know, we got what happened last week? We had 2 wars ended. We got the big, beautiful bill advancing. We have all this stuff going on. Best story out is Alligator Alcatraz. It is the best story. And you know why it's the best story? Because of the way it makes liberals cope and seethe. If you're a salt miner, get ready for this. Rep. Frederica Wilson, she's a Democrat out of Florida. Rep. Wilson, she's the one that always wears the cowboy hat and looks ridiculous. She said, deporting Haitians back to Haiti is a kiss of death. How can the Department of Homeland Security say it's safe to return to Haiti while the State Department is still warning Americans not to travel there? Haiti is not safe. It's riddled with gang violence and political turmoil. The poorest country in the Western Hemisphere cannot absorb deportees. This news is insanity on steroids, and it's heartbreaking to my community. If Haiti is such a bad place, why would we want to take in 500,000 Haitians? If it's riddled with gang violence and political turmoil, why do we want to accept 500,000 Haitians into America? Spoiler alert, we don't and we won't. Last month, Wilson also responded on social media to the Supreme Court's ruling that granted the president's request to revoke humanitarian parole protections for immigrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela, saying this decision is cruel and inhumane. These are folks who are escaping brutal dictatorships, gang violence, and turmoil. These Cubans, Haitians, Venezuelans, Nicaraguans came here legally after Biden changed the definition, and to contribute to our South Florida community. Deporting them is a death sentence. Everything's a death sentence. It's a death sentence. Wilson's admittance of Haiti's poor state of affairs has been blasted by many online who accuse her of hypocrisy, as she previously spoke out against Trump when he described Haiti in harsh terms in his first administration in 2018. As you remember, Trump described it as, accurately enough, an S-hole. It is. Spoiler alert. That's why they want to leave. I don't blame them for wanting to leave. But you can't just come here because you want to come here. That's not how it works. It's not how it works at all. So if you don't want to leave, you got until September 2nd, and then you can report to Alligator Alcatraz if you would prefer. Now the ACLU is stepping up. We've seen a lot of movement around Donald Trump, this immigration efforts, birthright citizenship. We saw the Supreme Court decisions come down on Friday, which was just a massive win, stopping those nationwide injunctions by district court judges, which changed how you would have to file these lawsuits. It wouldn't just be one judge being able to stop it nationwide. No, you'd have to gin it up into a class action lawsuit, which is going to take more time. It's going to take more money. The ACLU has a bit of both of those, and they filed a class action lawsuit against Trump's birthright citizenship order. This is a big story today. Coalition of activist groups led by the ACLU filed a class action lawsuit Friday against the Trump administration, seeking to block enforcement of President Donald Trump's executive order restricting birthright citizenship. The lawsuit was filed by the ACLU in New Hampshire, Maine, and Massachusetts, the Legal Defense Fund, Asian Law Caucus, and Democracy Defenders Fund. These same groups had previously filed similar challenges in January on behalf of families whose children born on U.S. soil would be denied citizenship under the executive order. The earlier case resulted in court protection for those plaintiffs and is currently pending before the First Circuit Court of Appeals. So new rules, new game. This is how we're going to be playing now. Again, we're going to find out, and we're going to see what happens. There's a lot of individuals here who could benefit from birthright citizenship. I mean, these Haitians who had temporary protected status, is all those kids that the 500,000 Haitians had since they came into the country, are they now American citizens? What about the Tren de Aragua gang members? Will their children be American citizens? Sinaloa cartel members, MS-13 gang members? What about the Iranians that have been coming into our country? If they had kids, are they American citizens? I mean, we're going to have to wait and find out. On the Iranian front, Customs and Border Protection uncovered what they're calling an Iranian human smuggling hub in Los Angeles. Federal agents with U.S. Customs and Border Protection were seen executing a warrant at a residence in North Hills around 3 p.m. on Friday, making the second law enforcement action at the property this week. Home in Los Angeles was an Iranian human smuggling hub, according to Customs and Border Patrol. After 2 individuals were arrested on Friday afternoon in an L.A. County neighborhood, the home had previously been the site of an arrest of 7 Iranian nationals earlier this week, some of whom were reportedly flagged on the FBI's terror watch list. Federal agents with U.S. Customs and Border Protection were seen executing that search warrant at a residence in North Hills around 3 p.m. Friday, marking the second enforcement action at that property in a week. Earlier this week, they had 7 Iranians. They say this location has been repeatedly used to harbor illegal entrants linked to terrorism, CBP posted on X. Under POTUS, CBP is taking aggressive action to shut down smuggling networks and remove national security threats before they can do harm. Where we can put them? Alligator Alcatraz. That's the only answer. Alligator Alcatraz. 451, Chris Hand, in for Matt Murphy. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy for USS, United Structural Systems. USS is going to keep your home stable and dry, and they've been doing so since 1994. Our friends at USS are the best in the business when it comes to foundation repair, waterproofing repair, and making sure that your home is exactly as it should be. You know, typically homes are going to settle. That's a natural occurrence. But if the settling happens in such a way where it causes stair-step cracks in the masonry or mortar joints, or perhaps you've noticed a musty or moldy smell in the basement or crawl space. Maybe a door is sticking, a window is sticking. These are all signs of problems in your home, and it's a sign that you need to call USS, United Structural Systems. They guarantee their best at USS, and they've been keeping homes stable and dry since 1994, almost 30,000 satisfied customers. Call 615-488-7855, 488-7855 for USS, United Structural Systems.
Metro Police investigating after a toddler is shot in West Nashville. President Trump going to invite Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House next week. Going to talk about Gaza. And White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt was asked about talks for an agreement with Iran and a bunch of other stuff. We'll let you hear her response coming up at 5 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Looking forward to the headlines with Ken Weaver. As always, the top and bottom of every hour, Ken delivers the goods. We got Jackson producing the show. My name is Chris Hand. Matt Murphy still not here. I did the same thing you did.
What's that?
I misunderstood how tough he was. I thought Matt was way tougher than this, and he would be back. I didn't even think he was going to be gone the whole week last week.
I feel like I had it pretty on point. I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
Now, Matt, some people on the text line have been saying we got to have a new nickname for Mr. Murphy.
Oh yeah,
Matt the Milkman Murphy, because he's been milking this. And instead of getting a 4-day weekend like the rest of us, he's going to take a 14-day weekend.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Got extra 2 days.
Feel better soon, Matt. We appreciate you, and we got you covered, man. No stress. So a lot of people are still going full bore on Ice Block. I've learned a lot. I can't download the app because I won't update my phone. But people are saying if you click on the map, it'll report a little bit easier than if you click on the check mark, and that you got to wait 5 minutes in between reporting, and you can only report when you're 5 minutes, when you're within 5 miles of your location. So what I need somebody to do is turn a VPN on your phone and see if we can start reporting in some of the big blue cities. See if we can get ourselves in LA and start reporting there as well in random places.
Dude, this might actually be helping ICE. Like if they have this app, they can just wait for all these fakes and they'll just come to them.
They could. But I think it's the people that are anti-ICE are using this for legit reasons.
Sure,
so
they are.
We flood the zone with fake reports. That way they don't know where the real ones are.
Right. And so they run from those fake ones and right into the arms of Holman's boys.
Yeah. Somebody said, how is this different than radar detectors? And I said, have you seen a mass protest for a police officer at a speed trap? No. This is completely different. This is actually putting officers in danger.
Yes, it is.
100%. So we'll keep talking about that. On the way, though, Donald Trump sat down with Maria Bartiromo, gave a long interview about a number of different topics. Top of the list was Iran. He also talked a little bit about China. Maybe you've heard of him. And the big, beautiful bill. We'll detail all that when we get back after Ken's newscast. It's 5 o'clock. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Five o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Here in Nashville, Metro Police investigating after a toddler was shot in the head accidentally with a gun that the toddler was able to access because it wasn't properly secured. A call went out just after noon today in the Nations. The child rushed to the hospital. Here's Channel 4's Brendan Tierney.
Neighbors told me off camera that they wouldn't let their kids play with this family because there was never a parent around watching them. The detectives have been out here today talking with family members along with other people in the area. We are told that Metro Police are waiting for more information from the youth services detectives who are investigating this case to figure out how that 3-year-old got the gun, and they're figuring out if any charges might have to be filed in this case.
News out of D.C. President Trump will have Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House next week for talks on ending the war in Gaza. Also today, President Trump signed an executive order ending decades of sanctions against Syria. And one more thing, the pilots who flew that Iran bombing mission are going to be at the White House for July 4th. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt was asked about talks for an agreement with Iran.
The president himself has not talked to Iran, which he pointed out in his truth statement.
Steve Witkoff has been in communication with the Iranians, but what about the vote-a-rama on the Big Beautiful Bill Act, Caroline?
The White House and the president are adamant that this bill is passed and that this bill makes its way to his desk. Republicans need to stay tough and unified during the home stretch.
But the protests from Senator Tom Tillis, who called the Medicaid cuts disastrous, took everyone by surprise. Levitt called this action theatrical.
Well, he is just wrong. And the president and the vast majority of Republicans who are supportive of this legislation are right.
And one more question about alligator Alcatraz. Did President Trump choose this by design?
Well, look, when you have illegal murderers and rapists and heinous criminals in a detention facility surrounded by alligators, yes, I do think that's a deterrent for them to try to escape.
Yeah, President Trump goes there tomorrow. And the Trump administration threatening all of Harvard University's federal funding over civil rights violations in a new letter sent to the university today. It's the latest in a campaign of targeted moves from the Trump administration. The Trump administration already freezing more than $2 billion in grants to Harvard, threatened to rescind their tax-exempt status, and gone after the university's ability to enroll foreign students. Karen Travers.
Harvard says in a statement that it, quote, strongly disagrees with the federal government's findings, pushing back on the Trump administration's threats to strip federal funding. Harvard saying it has made, quote, significant strides to combat bigotry, hate, and bias. The university tells ABC it is not alone in confronting this challenge and says its work is ongoing, adding, quote, we remain committed to ensuring members of our Jewish and Israeli community are embraced, respected, and can thrive at Harvard. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
And right now, some bombshell breaking news. Brian Kohberger has agreed to plead guilty to all counts in the Idaho College murders to avoid the death penalty if convicted. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Franklin, TDOT reporting a crash on the left shoulder, 65 southbound at I-840. Then in Burns, Dixon County, we got a crash. Highway Patrol reporting it, 40 eastbound near I-840. In Smyrna, Highway Patrol reporting a crash, 24 westbound just past Almaville Road. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
5:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. Filling in for Matt Murphy this week. He's still recovering from that Chinese shoulder that he got put in. And we wish him nothing but the best. What?
Matt won't be back until Bite Dance divests from his right shoulder.
Yep. I've heard that there's a deal in place for a U.S. buyer to come in and take over Matt Murphy's shoulder. I've heard. That was
Rumors say.
That's what we've been hearing. Also, have you guys been looking at the text line? These guys.
What are they doing, man?
This audience just steps up anytime you ask. 0240. Breaking news. McMinnville, Tennessee is about to look like an operation hub for ICE on this app. It said, I got one guy texted in. He said, he goes, I'm a UPS driver. Perfect. ICE all over town. LOL. That's obviously, if you're just joining us, you just got off work. There's a new app out. It's called Ice Block, and they're using it in big blue sanctuary cities and all over the country, really. But it's to alert the illegal aliens where ICE operations are taking place. So we've decided, as a group, that we're gonna take a strategy of flooding the zone until they remove the app from the App Store. And ICE operations everywhere, we're going to report them everywhere. That way nobody knows if they're real or not. So help us out. Enjoy. Thank you. Donald Trump has had a heck of a week. He sat down with Maria Bartiromo yesterday, do a long interview on Fox News. She's like, man, you've been busy.
President, you were just coming off of one of the most consequential weeks anybody has ever seen, from striking Iran to going to NATO, to announcing 2 deals, and then this Supreme Court victory. Have you been able to digest what has occurred in the last 7 days?
Not really. It was a pretty wild period of time. And I really think in 6 months, we've taken the country and turned it around.
So have you digested what happened? Not really. No. It's been wild. And then instantly he just pivots. But listen, these 6 months have been wild. I think this last year or two has been wild. But Donald Trump's right. They've turned the country around in 6 months flat.
I was told by the King of Saudi Arabia, by the leader of Qatar and the leader of UAE, when we went over there, we brought back $5.1 trillion investment into the United States. They said, you're presiding now over the hottest country in the world. And a year ago, we thought your country was dead. It could never come back. It was so incompetently run by a very bad president. And I said, you're right. This country is hot. And that was a couple of months ago. Now we're talking about what we've done recently. So the country is really going. The numbers are great. I watch you in the mornings, and you're giving those numbers, and they're really good. No inflation. We have a bad Fed chairman, but other than that, we have, great. It doesn't even matter. The numbers are so good. It doesn't matter that he keeps the rates artificially high. But it's been an amazing period of time.
I love how let me celebrate this past week and at the same time just throw jabs at Jerome Powell every chance I get. It's beautiful. It really is. The economy has been rocking under Trump. I mean, listen, we could go through all the different places that are reporting on the lowest gas prices that they've had in a year. This is Macomb, Georgia.
And if you're planning to travel this week, gas prices in our area are down. They're the lowest that we've seen this time since 2021.
Oh, weird. What was happening in 2021? Oh, weird. Let's go to Columbia, South Carolina.
If you're planning to hit the road ahead of the 4th of July weekend, gas prices are currently the lowest that they've been since 2021.
Oh, what happened in 2021? I don't know. Was there something? Who's in charge in 2021? Let's go to Tupelo, Mississippi.
If you're driving, you could be in for a pleasant surprise at the pump. Right now, the average price per gallon is up 10 cents, averaging about $3.31. But crude oil prices are continuing to fall ever since a ceasefire was announced between Israel and Iran.
Huh. Who got that ceasefire done? I can't put my finger on it. It'll come to me. One of you guys on the text line will remind me. It's right there. Who got that? Who got that ceasefire done? Summer gas prices, man. Let's go to New York.
There is some good news, and that's good news because most people traveling right now are traveling by road. Gas prices, $3.18 a gallon right now. That's the national average for regular unleaded. Last year, that was $3.49 a gallon. So
that's pretty good. But, listen, gas fluctuates, right? it fluctuates. Like even with all the success of the Trump administration, right? Like this is maybe it'll go up again down the road, right? You would think.
Well, it looks like gas prices are about to get cheaper.
According to Gas Buddy, the app that tracks gas prices, the national average could fall below $3 as early as September.
Oh, so it's gonna get even. Is this working? Is this Trump administration work? I think it might be working. Donald Trump has a lot to celebrate, and when it comes to the economy, I'm putting all my eggs in that basket, and I'm trusting, man. Like I understand there's some things in the big beautiful bill that are going to make people very, very upset. I understand currently they're talking about a lot of H-1B visas and in trades. And I understand how that rubs people the wrong way. We haven't seen it at its final state yet. That may change. I understand that the taxes on remittances, money going into other countries, is being lowered. That might not stand. I understand why a lot of people are upset about it. But I also understand that at this point, I'm just going to trust Trump and his team. I don't have – there is nothing else that would sway me from doing that. We can fearmonger about the what-ifs in the big, beautiful bill, but I'm just looking at what's been and what has transpired under Trump, not just in the first 6 months of this term, but in the last term as well. And I trust this guy with the economy. And when he says we got to get the big, beautiful bill passed, I'm leaning in.
It's very important. If we don't have it, there's a 68% tax increase. If we don't have it, the debt ceiling extension is very important. They gave a debt ceiling, the Republicans gave a debt ceiling because of the importance of doing it. They did that for the good of the country, and Republicans voted for that. They did a big favor. I don't know that I would have done it, to be honest with you, but whatever. They did a favor. Now the Democrats won't do that favor back.
I think that that's a learning opportunity for the Republicans. And it seems like this always happens with the Republicans. The Democrats will be in power and will be like, oh, well, we'll bend the knee and we'll work together. And then they think it's going to come back around the other way. And then when the Republicans are in power, the Democrats never play ball. Remember that for next time, please, because it happens every single time.
In other words, you never want to violate your debt covenants. So they gave, what I'm saying, they gave this 4 months early. It was due on September 28th, right before the election. A group of Republicans got together and said, you know what, this is so serious. We should do this for the good of the country. I understand that. Now it's their turn to do it, and they won't do it. There are a lot of bad people in the Democrat Party.
Yeah, and they're all suffering from a really severe case of TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. It's still running wild, ravishing the country. And we could get a lot more done if these people would use all of their skills and energy into doing something productive for the country as opposed to doing something destructive towards Trump. Yet we won't do that. Back to Jerome Powell. Donald Trump is still a little bit mad. Why haven't you lowered interest rates? We're bringing in so much money from tariffs that you really should be lowering the rates. This isn't raising inflation. So what are we doing?
If some judge said we can't do tariffs, we would fall prey to the rest of the world who would do tariffs and are doing tariffs on us. If we couldn't fight them back with tariffs, this country would be in terrible shape. We would be like this innocent lamb being led to slaughter.
But we have been fighting back with tariffs. And the tariff plan from Donald Trump is working extraordinarily. I don't know how else you put it. I mean, a lot of money that wasn't coming in at all has been pouring into this country with the tariffs. This is how CNBC puts it.
Look how much we've been collecting in revenues. And I did this in part because Wilfred's here and he can talk about the UK trade deal. But just this is the monthly numbers. And they have gone up a lot. June is actually set for another big increase of $27 billion. That is money coming into U.S. coffers from tariffs. We are collecting a lot of revenue. So far, guys, $121 billion has flowed into the U.S. government since the start of the fiscal year. It's still...
Is that good? That's good, right?
A tiny portion of the overall revenues that the U.S. government gets, but it's increasingly a lot. Especially, we haven't seen it in terms of the consumer paying off higher inflation.
It's increasingly a lot, especially because we haven't seen it. Yeah. Weird. It's. You could say it's working. You could say it's working. The tariffs are also making a lot of automakers reconsider where they're going to build their vehicles, and a lot of them are opting to buy in America. Donald Trump was talking about the tariffs on foreign-made cars versus American-made cars during that interview with Maria Bartiromo. Sounded like this.
I'll tell you what the U.S. automakers are worried about. They don't want Japan and Korea to have a lower tariff if you do a deal with them than the U.S. automakers are paying.
Well, the U.S. automakers are going to be so busy selling cars in the U.S., they're not going to even have to worry about it. But that won't happen because I set a tariff. Let's say I take a certain country and I set a tariff at 25 and they're charging 35 or 40. I'll raise the tariff to 35 or 40. And they'll come down.
They'll come down. They'll come down. Trump is, I feel like he's working the economy as best he can. Given all the detractors that he has, he's doing a bang-up job. I trust his team to get it done. I do. The big, beautiful bill has passed. Now they're voting on all the random things. And then it'll go back to the House where they'll vote on it again. Then it'll go to Trump's desk. It's going to be a long, drawn-out process. I don't realistically see it happening by July 4th. Crazy things have happened. Maybe it will be done by July 4th. But one way or another, I support the big, beautiful bill. I see it as a vehicle to get the Trump mandate in motion. Steven wants to talk about the big, beautiful bill. What's up, man? How are you?
Hey, Chris. How's it going, man?
Good. How about yourself?
Good, man. I got a lot of faith in it like you, man. We're coming down to the wire on this, what all these promises, what Trump is going to do for the country and for all the people, not just people like Elon Musk and not just, people like these two senators that we're seeing that are deciding that they're going to just leave Congress because things didn't go their way. To me, that seems a little selfish of them because they were elected by the people to be for the people, not for themselves. So I think we're seeing a lot of wolves in sheep's clothing starting to come out of coming out from behind the curtain, so to speak. We know who's been talking to who on each other side of the aisle.
Yep.
He's pretty much exposing all the corrupted senators and everybody else, with this. But, I mean, all in all, man, the BBB, right, the big, beautiful bill, not the Better Business Bureau, but although Trump is kind of like the Better Business Bureau when you look at it as far as how our country's going.
Yep. Hey, you nailed that. Hey, I appreciate the call, Steve, as always. And when you listen to Trump's team behind the scenes and when they're on TV, they're saying, guys, if we get 3% growth, instead of what they're projecting, this bill adds $4 trillion in revenue. This bill becomes a big deficit reducer. That's what Kevin Hassett said, the NEC director, earlier today on CNBC.
TBO says that the Senate bill increases the deficit by $3.3 trillion from 2025 to 2034, and that is $1 trillion more than the House bill. There were already concerns about the deficit in this bill. Do you disagree with those numbers?
Oh, I 100% disagree with those numbers. You remember that in the House bill, there were a bunch of things that were temporary, that were there for the first 4 or 5 years, but then looked like they raised money in the out years. But of course, a big tax hike in the 5th year is going to cause a recession and reduce growth and increase the deficit. The number that I think is the best number to think about when you're looking at that $3.3 trillion is that if we get 3% growth instead of 1.8% growth out of this bill, then that adds $4 trillion to revenue, which means that this thing is a big deficit reducer. This is the biggest spending cut in history, the biggest tax cut in history, and with a little bit of growth, it's going to be incredibly positive for the budget. And finally, don't forget, this isn't the only bite of the apple, that we've got lots of discretionary spending that we're planning to send up to the Senate to rescind. Russ Vogt, the OMB director, suggests that maybe that's going to amount to about $160 billion this year. If you get the $160 billion of rescissions, then multiply that by 10 to think about what the deficit impact is. So this is a very fiscally responsible bill.
I mean, my big takeaway, though, is that if we get 3% growth instead of the 1.8% out of this bill, it adds $4 trillion to revenue, which means it's a deficit reducer. I don't see any reality where Donald Trump doesn't get 3% growth. None. If anybody can do it, it's that guy. And if they achieve that 3% mark, then what are we talking about here? What are we talking about? It's 522 Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, friends, Matt Murphy for Grace Point Healthcare. Grace Point Healthcare is affordable, convenient, and comprehensive medicine delivered the old-fashioned way, a direct pay format. Why is that important? One, it helps you know exactly what you're spending on your medical care when you go to the doctor. Number two, they never let insurance companies get in the way between you and the doctors that serve you at Grace Point Healthcare. That's important to me, and it should be important to you, and I think it is, because you want to make sure that the doctor's making decisions that are right for you, not right for the insurance company. Plus, Grace Point Healthcare treats the whole body with comprehensive medicine and a comprehensive approach. They get to the root of the problem. They don't just address the symptoms. Also, no wait times at Grace Point. You call, and oftentimes you get in same day or next day, even for brand new patients. Give a call and see the Grace Point difference. They're located in the heart of Franklin, 599-6868. That's 599-6868. You really can afford exceptional medicine at your convenience. It's Grace Point Healthcare, modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way.
Authorities can't say for sure whether a toddler will survive getting shot in the head today in West Nashville. We've got that story and more coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. 527 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Sorry, I'm just responding to somebody on the YouTube chat. They said the U.S. economy's never hit 3% growth ever. We actually did. 2018, under President Trump. Weird.
Weird how that happens.
Isn't that weird? What a coincidence. I'm sure it had nothing to do with Orange Man. I'm sure he had nothing to do with it. It was just he got lucky. He got lucky. All right, so when it comes to the economy, though, Donald Trump's strategy is always the best. Did you see Canada bending the knee once again? Oh, my gosh. So Donald Trump, all he has got to do is put out a True Social post and be like, I'm done with you. You're dead to me forever. Don't even call. Don't write. And then immediately the other country will do exactly what he wants. So yesterday we saw Canada saying that they're going to put a digital services tax. Sorry, not yesterday, Friday. Digital services tax. And then Donald Trump came out and said, well, screw you guys. We're not doing business with you at all. Thank you for your attention to this matter. It was yesterday that Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney put out a statement saying that he supports a resumption of negotiations toward the July 21st, 2025 timeline set out at this month's G7 leadership. And they've said that they will remove that digital services tax. All you got to do is trust in Trump. That's it. That's it. That's really the main thing. Remember when everybody was panicking over all the tariffs in the first place and then nothing bad happened?
Yeah. There is no evidence yet of like exorbitant price increases or anything like that as a result.
All you got to do is trust the man. Remember when he said now is a good time to buy? Yeah. You remember that? You know that he called that at the exact moment of the bottom? And since then, the market has flourished. We're seeing record highs on the Dow and the S&P.
Yeah, on Friday.
Unbelievable. You just got to trust Trump. I trust him with the Canada stuff. Plus, it's America's hat, so who cares at the end of the day?
Okay, I need a calculator to follow all of that. Tariff talks now. Canada conceded late last night on this Digital Services Act. Will you restart negotiations with Canada immediately then?
Oh, absolutely. We spoke with the Prime Minister and the President at the G7 meeting. One of the things that the President asked for was that they would take the DST tax off. It's something that they've studied. Now they've agreed to. And for sure, that means that we can get back to the
Okay, what about the EU?
I love how he said, of course we'll get back to the negotiating table. We wouldn't want to hang out the 51st state to dry, would we? 5:30, Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And here in Nashville, Metro Police investigating after a toddler shot himself in the head with a gun that was not properly secured. A call went out just after noon today in the Nations, West Nashville. The child rushed to the hospital. Here's Channel 4's Brendan Tierney.
Metro Police say the shooting happened inside of the family's home just after noon. The 3-year-old was taken to Vandy Children's Hospital with life-threatening injuries. Taylor and other neighbors tell me kids play here all the time with no parents around to watch them.
So I probably know like his cousins and brothers and stuff, so I don't even... Yeah, that's crazy though, man. My feelings hurt.
Metro Police Youth Services detectives spent hours at the house talking with the family, trying to figure out how the 3-year-old got the gun.
Toddler's in emergency surgery. Authorities say they're not sure that the toddler will survive. Brian Kohberger has agreed to plead guilty to all counts in the killings of 4 Idaho college students, which spares him from the death penalty. Kohberger will be sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences, waives all right to appeal. A court hearing scheduled for July 2nd. Elsewhere in Idaho, the suspect in Sunday's deadly ambush of firefighters has been identified as a 20-year-old man from Arizona. Officials say Wes Rowley may have been living in his car but had no criminal record. ABC's Alex Stone is at the scene that remains active this afternoon as officials search Rowley's vehicle, they say, was found down an embankment.
As we talk about motive, one of the things that really seems to stick out is that they say that they do believe he wanted to be a firefighter. I know that some in law enforcement had looked at, did he have some desire to be a firefighter, and maybe having them respond and targeting them for some reason could have been connected to that. And the sheriff saying that they're looking into his desire to be a firefighter. They don't know if he he ever actually applied anywhere or how serious his desire was, but that he apparently did have some interest in becoming one of those who he killed, and that may have played a role in the motive.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Over here in the Gulch, got a report of a crash. Police say it's 40 eastbound at DeMunbrian Street. Then in Franklin, got a stalled vehicle right shoulder block 65 southbound at McEwen Drive, Murfreesboro. Highway Patrol reporting a crash 840 eastbound just past New Nashville Highway, Northwest Broad Street, exit 55. And then in Franklin, accident, left shoulder block 65 southbound just past I-840. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Matt Murphy here for Alpha and Omega Computer Consultants. Alpha and Omega is not new to the managed services industry. They have been around serving Middle Tennessee, small, medium, and large-sized businesses with incredible and exceptional IT service and cybersecurity since 1998, and I'm proud to be able to tell you all about them. Their services include 24/7 protection from evolving threats, compliance for all industries, business continuity, fast local help desk support. 70% of cyber attacks target small to medium-sized businesses. If you don't think you can be attacked, you need to call Alpha and Omega and talk to one of their incredible consultants. Because if you call, they can tell you some of the issues that they've seen over the past several years that potentially could come after you. If you're a business owner, 14 successful ransomware attacks happen every day. Think about that. 14 successful ransomware attacks. Call Alpha and Omega to avoid being one of the 14. If you're renewing your annual IT contract, don't settle for the same old support. Alpha and Omega delivers fewer problems, faster response, and service that actually works. Call now for a free quote. Friends, if you're a business owner, you owe it to yourself to have a conversation with our buddies at Alpha and Omega. 615-784-0096. 784-0096, or go to ANDO.net. That's the letter A and the letter O.net.
538 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand, filling in for the one and only Matt Murphy. We got Ken Weaver in the newsroom. We got Action Jackson producing the whole thing. And we got you guys on the phone lines, the text line, 615-737-9986. Feel free to weigh in on anything we're talking about. I did get a text here. I don't know what I was saying at 512. Like right around 512. I tried to catch up on the text during the commercial break. And I got this. You are a special kind of evil person. So you think if you're brown-skinned, you should be locked up, and you like people dying. So you know what I wrote back to him?
What?
LOL. Okay. LOL. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know where that came from.
LOL. Thanks for listening. Hey, it's time for everybody's favorite segment that happens on the Matt Murphy Show every day at this time. Nincompoops in the news. Yes. Every day, we scour the headlines to find you the dumbest criminals in the continental United States and occasionally from our 51st state. And we got some good ones for you today. I guarantee it. We've had all weekend. Who won Friday? Was it me or was it you, Jackson?
I believe it was you.
Was it me?
That's way to go, brother Chris Hand.
Listen, I did pretty good last week. I got 2 wins on the board. I only made my son embarrassed for me one time. So that was good. I got a good one for you guys today. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
Whataburger employee accused of using customer's card to pay probation fines.
Okay.
I don't even want to pronounce the county because I was already getting made fun of because I was saying Tupelo wrong. And I said Macone instead of Macon. So like now that this is from a county in Georgia, I know somebody's gonna know which county.
Come
this
on,
is
you gotta try it, man.
Coweta.
It might be Coweta. How do you spell it?
Coweta.
Now, see, in Oklahoma, that's Coweta.
I feel like Coweta sounds like
Coweta.
Coweta.
Brother Murphy would know.
He would.
But his
100%.
shoulder hurts.
100%. He knows. He's probably yelling it at the radio right now, and the Chinese listening device on that shoulder's picking it up. So, anyway, I digress. Let's take you to Coweta, Georgia. A Whataburger employee in Georgia is accused of using a customer's card information to pay her probation fees. Police say 25-year-old Alifa Sumter is wanted for felony identity theft and felony financial transaction card fraud. According to authorities, Sumter, while working at Whataburger, is it Whataburger or Whataburger?
I say Whataburger.
I say Whataburger.
Whataburger? You say what and you say what?
I say Whataburger.
Okay.
Whataburger.
Anyway, she's working there.
Yeah.
And she allegedly stole debit card information from a customer in the drive-thru to pay her probation fines and fees with the Coweta County State and Court Probation Office.
Wow.
The customer noticed a $400 charge to CCSCPO on her account and told them about the unauthorized transaction. Both agencies worked together to identify Sumter as the suspect. I mean, it was probably very easy.
Oh, this card information you're talking about? Oh, this was made to this payment for this person.
Yeah, dumb. Like, you're looking for a nincompoop, you found one.
What a maroon.
Not naked, though. So there's still room for me to lose this at the end. So both agencies worked together to identify Sumter as the suspect. Police said the customer also picked her out of a photo lineup as the worker who took his card for payment and then disappeared for a couple of minutes.
Good grief.
How do you,
what a moron.
If you were going to do it, don't you think you could do that in like 15 seconds or less? Like, I don't think the customer would ever have any idea that something weird happened until they saw the charge if it was me.
Yeah.
Even then.
And I mean, they can time out the charge. And
100%. Police said the customer picked her out of a photo lineup as the worker who took his card payment disappeared for a couple of minutes. Sumter's probation officer obtained warrants for her arrest and notified her of them. So then she said, okay, I'll turn myself in. They're like, perfect, easy. However, she failed to turn herself in and stopped answering calls from investigators.
That'll work.
Who could have seen that coming?
Family members say that she ran to the worst state possible, Florida. supposedly for a trip that was planned before the charges were filed against her. If anyone has information on Sumter's whereabouts, contact SPD Lieutenant James McHugh. I feel like alligator Alcatraz is only for illegal aliens. I think we should make a nincompoop wing. I think we should. That's my nincompoop in the news.
That's a good one, dude. That's going to be hard to top.
It's a good one.
It's going to be hard to top.
All right, who you got?
Which one of us can?
Go ahead, Brother Jackson.
All right. Naked man caught doing awful thing to cars as Brits go bonkers in heat wave. This comes out of Manchester in the United Kingdom. A naked man caused naked havoc on a bustling roundabout in Rochdale, Greater Manchester, as temperatures soared. The local constables, yes, that's what they're called, were alerted to the incident on Sunday, June 29th. According to the Manchester Evening News, the man was reportedly assaulting motorists during his wild spree. The police responded to reports of a naked man randomly approaching vehicles near the Middletown Archer pub. Social media posts described the man as running over the roundabout and going for any car or person near him. One post detailed how the man tried to attack my car as I picked my daughter up from the gym, adding, "It was horrifying." Another post echoed the sentiment, "It was awful." It read, "I was 2 cars behind and he was attacking this guy in a car."
Is that it?
I think there's a little more. Greater Manchester police confirmed they received multiple calls about the incident. Once they arrived at the scene, a man was... A lot of this is in
it's in British.
Yeah, it's a struggle. Yeah. In an official statement, officers arrested a man in Middleton town centre under suspicion of assault and criminal damage. He remains in police custody.
When asked for comment, officers said, "Oi!"
Yeah. He was running around calling everybody governor.
Yeah, that revolution looks better and better every year, doesn't it? It really does. It really
especially
does.
for this guy.
All right, so we got. Stolen debit card for probation fees, and we have naked Brit attacking motorists.
This heat wave, man, it's like 80 degrees there, and they don't know what to do.
Boy.
I don't know. I don't want to know what they would do here.
They got swamp ass in Great Britain.
Oh, God. It's not even that bad. It was like 100 last week here.
It's very nice. It's very nice.
All right, you boys ready?
I think here comes the winner.
This one comes out of Mountain Home, Idaho. Naked man walking along highway in Mountain Home Saturday evening arrested. A man who was walking naked along Highway 62 was arrested by Mountain Home police. According to the incident report, the officer first made contact with the man when he was dispatched for a welfare check for a man walking in the area of a Wendy's restaurant with no shirt or shoes. No service either. The officer says the man threw his hands in the air and asked if he wanted to take him back. Well, the officer told him, "You're not breaking any laws. You're free to go." The officer parked in a nearby parking lot, and about 5 minutes later got another call. Several motorists reporting that there was a man who was now completely naked at the Mudbusters car wash.
How about this? Is this illegal, sir?
Want to take me back now, buddy?
He just needed a shower.
The officer headed that way and observed the man he had previously made contact with. He says he asked to be taken to jail. He was charged with indecent exposure, which is a misdemeanor there in Mountain Home, Idaho. Bail was set at $505. So all it took was just getting completely naked to be thrown in the clink.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. I'm getting a lot of texts.
Yeah.
Guys, why is it always a man being naked?
You don't want to see me in Ken's search history.
Have you all noticed that it's never a woman naked?
I can't find many naked woman stories.
That wasn't the only text I got. I got another one. What is y'all's fascinations with naked dude stories?
It's funny.
Valid.
It's very funny.
Then he wrote, valid question.
It's funny.
I'll be honest. The past couple of days, I've literally done the search.
Yeah.
And then I do the search again with plus naked man.
Yes.
There are some stories with naked women out there, but more often than not, it's going to be a naked man running around.
Yeah. The dudes aren't calling the cops.
What was
on the
this
naked
fellow's
women.
name, by the way? I think I missed his name. Oh, 33-year-old Cole Breeden.
Cole Breeden.
Well, there's the problem. He was from California.
Mm.
Not even from Idaho.
No. I mean, public nudity is commonplace in California.
Walking around there with no shirt and shoes.
All right, so we got Ken. Officer, will you arrest me now?
I'm naked now.
we got Jackson. Jackson was your naked guy was attacking British motorists
while naked.
Governor.
And then we have Whataburger drive-thru employee pays probation fines with customer credit card
after she disappears for a couple of minutes.
Yeah. Somebody on the text line, because she fled to Florida. He goes, wait. She had money for a Florida vacation, but not her probation fees? Apparently so.
It was probably one or the other, and she figured she could get the probation money from some poor guy at the Whataburger drive-thru.
I'll scam somebody. 615-737-9986. Send in your text on who won nincompoops in the news today. I'm seeing some early exit polling. And I'll tell you what. I don't know if the naked guys are going to win today.
Yeah, you got a good one, man.
I had a good one.
Maybe naked fatigue is setting in.
It might be.
Maybe. Nudity fatigue. Is that a thing? We'll talk about it when we get back. 549 Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Satan knows Scripture better than some Christians, and for that reason should be respected because he has centuries of experience in deceiving and tempting people. Satan understands our human nature and our motivations. Satan has the power to plant thoughts in our minds if we allow it through ignorance. John 13:2, during supper, the devil having already put into the heart of Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon, to betray him, that being Jesus, Satan can possess non-believers as well. Luke 22:3, and Satan entered into Judas, who was called Iscariot, belonging to the number of the 12. Satan actually tries harder on Christians because Christians become his enemies when we accept Christ as our Savior. The best news, Christians share in Jesus' victory since he defeated Satan's power on the cross. John 16:33, these things I have spoken to you so that in me you may have peace. In the world you may have tribulation, but take courage. I have overcome the world. Scan to learn more.
Bombshell guilty plea in the Idaho college murders. We've got that story and more coming up at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. 5:54 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand, filling in for Matt Murphy, who is out. He's got the Chinese shoulder that he's nursing back to health. He should be back next week. Take all the time you need, Matt. We got you covered. In the meantime, we're filling in. We're doing all the things that Matt usually does. Nink and Poops in the News just went down, and you know, like Matt usually does, I mopped the floor with these two guys. So,
yeah, you had a good one, brother Chris.
Hey, you got 2 votes. Jackson got 1, and then every other vote was for the Whataburger identity thief.
Is there a picture of this gal?
Oh yeah, here.
Yeah, I got to see that.
I'll throw it up on. If you're watching us on Super Talk TV, I'll put the picture right there up on the screen for you.
Okay,
that's our girl. And then here's the other thing. I didn't want to pronounce what county she was from in Georgia.
You did it correctly, though.
Did I?
Yep.
Because other people were texting in saying, no, it's Coweta or it's Coweta.
Yeah, I've got Coweta.
Coweta.
Yeah.
Coweta.
Coweta County. Of course, we know how to say county.
I'm still going to roll with Coweta.
Coweta.
That's our girl right there, our Whataburger employee. If you're watching us on the stream, she looks very upset.
And she's still on the run, right?
As far as I know.
Yeah, still looking for her.
As far as I know.
Do we have what she was originally arrested for?
No, it just said probation fees. What an idiot. What an idiot.
They're not going to catch me.
Who does that?
I've got a great idea.
It doesn't make any sense. I don't know why anybody would do that. A lot of people wanted to let you know, too, in England, it's either moist arse or royal swamp ass. So I wanted to get that out of the way, too.
He was showing his tea and crumpets.
Yeah, he certainly was. Where were you? Why didn't you have that ready to go last time?
I just thought of it.
Oh, it's a missed opportunity.
They burned his biscuits.
It's a missed opportunity.
His biscuits was burning.
Hey, I got some bad news about Alligator Alcatraz.
What?
They're already suing him.
Oh, yeah. Environmentalists.
That's what they tell us. They say, we got to worry about the alligators. Can't have them eating illegal aliens.
Groups are suing to stop Florida from opening that massive ICE detention center in the Everglades known as Alligator Alcatraz. The groups say the plans did not go to follow federal environmental review laws. The state's governor says he plans on processing people there as soon as next week.
Yeah, you can keep that lawsuit because we're still going to house illegal aliens there and possibly one Whataburger employee.
Let me guess. Where was the lawsuit filed?
Ooh.
Maine, Maryland,
I don't know.
California.
I didn't see that. I'll find it.
Yeah, I got to look that up.
Because you're absolutely right. It has to be one of these big blue states. Environmental groups blocking Trump's Alligator Alcatraz with last-minute lawsuit. Where did they file the lawsuit? It was filed in the Southern District of Florida.
Really?
Yep, by Friends of the Everglades and the Center. Oh, my gosh.
So Miami, then.
Yeah, get ready for this, though.
Okay.
The lawsuit was filed by Friends of the Everglades, which is, pretty bad already. But it's the next group. The Center for Biological Diversity. The Center for Biological Diversity filed the lawsuit.
Yeah.
DHS Homeland Security Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin said it's a lazy lawsuit and it ignores the fact that this land has already been developed for a decade. So deal with it. 30-mile square property will be home to 5,000 ICE detainees and is guarded by alligators and pythons. It's a magical place. It's a magical place. Attorneys allege the installation of housing units, the construction of sanitation and food service systems, lighting infrastructure, diesel power generators, and the use of a runway to transport detainees pose clear environmental harms, according to Fox 13 Tampa Bay's report. Environmental groups and Native Americans who live in the reserve protested outside the airport on Saturday, calling on officials to protect their homeland from additional pollution. You know the funniest fact about them protesting, though? They lined up on the side of the road, not in the middle of the street.
You're going to do that in Florida.
In Florida, you will get run over. and you will be dragged.
It's like that sheriff said, graveyard dead.
You don't want to be graveyard dead. You want to be playground alive. And you got to stay on the side of the road if that's the case. So alligator Alcatraz, I'm not worried about it. Are you worried about it? Don't worry about it. It's opening.
Yeah,
It's opening. And it's going to be the most magical place in Florida. Take that, Disney. 6 o'clock, Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
Six o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Here in Nashville, Metro Police investigating after a toddler shot themselves in the head with a gun that reportedly was not properly secured. This call went out just after noon today in the Nations. The child rushed to the hospital. Here's Channel 4's Brendan Tierney.
Neighbors told me off camera that they wouldn't let their kids play with this family because there was never a parent around watching them. The detectives had been out here today talking with family members along with other people in the area. We are told that Metro Police are waiting for more information from the youth services detectives who are investigating this case to figure out how that 3-year-old got the gun, and they're figuring out if any charges might have to be filed in this case.
Yeah, authorities say they cannot say whether or not the child's going to pull through. Reaction from legal experts after the Idaho College murder suspect, Brian Kohberger, agreed to plead guilty to all counts in the killings of those students 2 years ago, sparing him from the death penalty. Defense attorney and ABC News contributor Brian Buckmeyer.
This is shocking and surprising for a number of reasons. Now, whenever you have a death penalty case, the major issue or major concern that a defense attorney will have is trying to get that off the table. And so understanding there's a plea deal where Brian Kohberger will not be put to death, especially in a state that has such, let's say, wide-reaching ways in which they can employ the death penalty, that makes sense.
Now, the plea comes just weeks before Kohberger's trial was set to begin.
Whether you're innocent or guilty or you believe yourself one way or the other, having your life in the hands of 12 people that you've never met before can be very, can shake you to your core.
News out of D.C. President Trump's going to have Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House next week for talks on ending the war in Gaza. Also today, President Trump signed an executive order ending decades of sanctions against Syria. And then the pilots who flew the Iran bombing mission, they're going to be at the White House for July 4th. Senators on Capitol Hill expected to be voting and debating into the night on the sweeping budget and tax bill known as the Big Beautiful Bill. Here's ABC's Jay O'Brien.
Right now, the Senate is in this vote-a-rama, right? It's voting on a series of amendments that Democrats are putting forward to try to change this legislation that will be unsuccessful, and some amendments that Republicans are putting forward to cut even more, like a Rick Scott proposed amendment to enact further cuts onto Medicaid. Unclear if he's got the support in his own ranks among Senate Republicans to get that over the goal line.
Now, this bill is going to make permanent President Trump's tax cuts from 2017, but it's not clear whether Senate Republicans will all vote yes. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Clarksville Highway Patrol reporting a crash 24 eastbound past Rossview Road. And in Franklin, Williamson County, got a left shoulder block there, 65 southbound past 840. Crash reported by TDOT. Looks like in the Gulch, still working that crash. Metro Police 40 eastbound at Munbrian Street. And in Rutherford County, got a report of a crash left shoulder block 24 westbound past Epps Mill Road. Almaville. Crash reported 840 eastbound approaching Almaville Road. And in Murfreesboro, got a crash reported by THP 840 eastbound past New Nashville Highway Northwest Broad Street, exit 55. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.606 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? My name is Chris Hand. You can listen to the show in a variety of ways. iHeartRadio, the TuneIn app, the FM dial. You can watch the show. We're live on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. That's Super Talk TV. Why would you want to watch a radio show on your TV? Well, we have video elements for all the audio that you hear on your radio. Just an added bonus for when you watch us on Super Talk TV. If you're over there on YouTube, hit like, hit subscribe. It helps us gain a larger digital footprint, which makes it a lot easier to do a lot of things in this space. So please, if you haven't done it yet, help us out. Hit like, hit subscribe, all the things. We got a lot to cover. Real quick, though, a couple people waiting on the line, 615-737-9986. Let's go to Dan. Dan, what's up, man? You're on Super Talk.
Man, your kids are awesome.
Oh, yeah? What makes you say that?
Well, I just went through your neighborhood. Actually went over to measure something at your house, but when I drove into you, I've been listening to you, and you spoke about that your kids were putting up flags. Man, your neighborhood is covered with flags.
Man, they're running through the neighborhood now like crazy putting up flags.
It is awesome. And I put in a good word for you. I told your wife that you should be able to put up your Trump flag, and she said that she wears the pants in your family. And I wanted to take the flag, so because I wear pants in my family, I put it up in my house. But she said you ain't got enough courage to do that.
Hey, Dan, man. I appreciate the kind words. Dan owns Cabinet Makeovers, and we're gonna be doing some stuff together with Dan on the Chris Hand Show here coming up in the next couple of weeks. We're really looking forward to that partnership, man. It's going to be really cool.
It is, but your kids, I mean, they really are. They came up and they shook my hand, never batted an eye, looked me straight in the eyes, gave a good, firm handshake. Your daughter is just precious.
Oh, thank you, sir.
I'm talking about your little daughter. She showed me her dolls and tried to give me one of her stuffed toys. I mean, just precious kids. Y'all have done an amazing job, your wife and yourself, of raising those kids and teaching those kids. And I commend you with the highest commendation. Nothing's greater than being a good parent, and you guys are awesome.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. I give all the credit to my wife, Virginia, because not only does she have to train the kids up, she has to untrain all the bad stuff that I put into the orbit. So it's really, she's got to work twice as hard.
Well, you did a good job, and y'all did a good job, but you be blessed. I'm looking forward to doing some things in your home so that you can talk about it.
Yeah, man, we're looking forward to it too. My wife is downright giddy. Dan's going to be putting in a bunch of cabinets and pull-out drawers and all sorts of cool stuff. We're gonna talk a lot more about that in the coming weeks. But Dan, we're really excited to have you at the house, man. Thank you so much.
You be blessed.
Hey, man, you too. God bless. Let's go to Mark on line 2, who's been holding for a minute. Mark, I appreciate you holding, man. What do you got? Mark? Mark's been holding for a while. Somebody check on Mark. We'll check on Mark, and we'll get back. Hopefully Mark's okay. I think Mark's probably fine, right? You think Mark's okay? Jackson gave me a nod. Mark's going to be fine. Don't worry about Mark. We'll get him back on the line. In the meantime, I did want to get to some of this audio from Donald Trump and his Fox interview. It was great. One of the topics that came up, obviously, is going to be Iran. Maybe you've heard of it. Maybe you've heard of it. The peace deal was unbelievable. We've also had a lot of pushback from the mainstream media and the left, just for numerous reasons. Oh, you didn't really get the nuclear site. Oh, no, you didn't get rid of the enriched uranium. Oh, no, there was too much war. And then the neocons randomly chime in. Oh, no, there wasn't enough war. But he did say that when it comes to these discussions with Iran, enrichment is not going to continue.
A lot of
Oh, hang on one second. I got too many audio sources running. I don't know why or where that one is coming from. There it is. Got it. This is Donald Trump talking about nuclear enrichment with Iran.
They had a lot of sites, probably 3 plus the one, but they had 3 main sites, and we knew they were going to have to either give them up. And I thought we could do it during negotiation, and we just about had it done. And then they said, we want enrichment. Enrichment doesn't mean like air conditioning, and it doesn't mean to jack up your car. Enrichment is a bad word. And I said, you got so much oil, what do you need that for? And they said, well, we need it, and I wouldn't let that happen. I think people wouldn't have understood it if I allowed that to happen. So we had a 60-day talk, and that delayed them a lot. And then we said, let's go at it. And it just worked out. And we wanted to work out also for Iran. They were beaten up, and so was Israel. In all fairness, they were both very tight. We call it the 12-day war. That was an intensive war. But the thing that I wanted to do, and I've said it on your show, if you look back 30 years ago or 25 years, we've been doing your show a long time, and nobody like you. But you look back at the early interviews, I would say Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. They've wanted this for years, and they were weeks away from getting it. And those pilots went in there with those beautiful planes and the most sophisticated bombs anywhere in the world. Think of it, they can go 30 stories deep into granite. Who would think that's even possible? And they did obliterate it, it turned out. Then we had to suffer the fake news, where the fake news in CNN and the New York Times was saying, well, maybe it wasn't as good as Trump said. Maybe it wasn't totally obliterated, but it was destroyed, but not just horrible. And I could see it happening. And they tried to build that into a story. And then it turned out, no, it was obliterated like nobody's ever seen before.
Trump's negotiating style worked flawlessly. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I wasn't biting my nails thinking this was going to turn into a protracted conflict. I thought it would. I didn't want anything to do with it. And this is part of my reason why I'm so in on the big, beautiful bill, because I feel guilty for doubting him in that situation, which I think was way more risky than what this big, beautiful bill is going to do for us, or, the negative side could do to us. And I'm just going to lean in and trust Trump. On the other side, you have the Democrats who are saying we can't trust Trump. Hakeem Jeffries found a podium over the weekend. He found a microphone. He's on ABC this week with Jonathan Karl. And Hakeem Jeffries actually criticized the Trump administration and tried to make the argument that Obama's negotiating and approach with Iran was more impressive than Trump's negotiating and approach with Iran.
We also need the case to be made by the administration to the American people as to how to best accomplish the objective of preventing Iran from becoming nuclear capable. Why did they abandon the aggressive diplomacy that was successful under the Obama administration? We all
What? Excuse me? Donald Trump bombed their nuclear sites. Didn't get us dragged into a forever war. Obama sent them pallets of cash. Wait, I must have misheard it, right? I must have misheard that. Hold on.
Well, why did they abandon the aggressive diplomacy that was successful under the Obama administration?
Oh, no, I didn't miss it. Hakeem Jeffries is just an idiot. Is that an aggressive negotiating tactic, to send pallets of cash to your enemies who are trying to make nuclear weapons? That's the aggression that he's looking for? Why didn't Donald Trump aggressively send them more money like Obama did? are we? Is he really doing this? Dollar store Obama, fuck Obama. Donald Trump has been tough on Iran every step of the way, and he's going to continue being tough on Iran. You can take that to the bank. He's also going to be tough on those who leaked the intelligence report that the fake news then ran with, saying they should be prosecuted, those leakers. I'm here for that. I think that they should all be getting a nice pair of custom silver bracelets.
You tweeted, the Democrats leaked an intelligence.
They should be prosecuted.
Who specifically? Do we know who did it? Will you be able to find out?
They could find out. If they wanted, they could find out easily. You go up and tell the reporter, national security, who gave it. You have to do that. And I suspect we'll be doing things like that.
Let's go. Sign me up. The more that we can take these leakers who are trying to hurt the Trump administration when they accomplish a feat that it's just unfathomable what they were able to do. Just completely out of the orbit of what I thought was a realistic option. And these leakers come out and they try to damage them in the press. Yeah, I hope that they're prosecuted. I hope they're prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Hope they have the book thrown at them. Hope they get locked up. I really do. I truly do. Make an example out of them. Make an example out of every leaker in this administration. By all means. You know, the fake news ran with that report. They tried to damage the Trump administration. They tried to say that it wasn't completely obliterated. That turned out to not be the case. They tried to say that they moved some of the uranium. Do you remember that narrative? That narrative quickly disappeared because it was also false. But Donald Trump was asked about it during this interview, and so he laid it on. He laid it down for Maria Bartiromo. No, they didn't move anything.
I saw reports that there were 400 kilograms, 800 pounds that they moved, but I wonder if it's traceable. I mean, if they were to have moved,
they didn't move anything. You know what they moved themselves? They were all trying to live.
Jeez, what a savage. They didn't move anything. You know what they moved? Themselves. So that way they could live. Have we ever had a leader like this? This guy's unbelievable. They tried to move themselves so they could live.
I saw reports that there were 400 kilograms, 800 pounds that they moved, but I wonder if it's traceable. I mean, if they were to have moved, they didn't move anything.
You know what they moved themselves? They were all trying to live.
Audible keck. What? It's just a savage.
They didn't move anything. They didn't think it was going to be actually doable, what we did. And what we did was amazing. And there were energy commissions that went there now. No, it's just thousands of tons of rock in that room right now. That room, the whole place was just destroyed. And the other two also. Now, Israel was able to do damage, but we did the final damage. And we have the greatest submarines in the world. We launched 30 rockets from submarines. Every single one of them hit their target.
I mean, it's insane. It's unbelievable what this military was able to accomplish on that strike on Iran. Unbelievable. And even crazier is that we're not staring down the barrel of decades of war. No. It seems like what's on the other side of this Iran strike is going to be peace. And it seems like what's on the other side of this is an expansion of the Abraham Accords. And he talked to Maria Bartiromo about the expansion of the Abraham Accords. And we've heard this floated for a while, the expansion of the Abraham Accords. And again, if anybody can do it, it's going to be Donald J. Trump.
Has any other country suggested to you recently, as a result of this, that they want to join the Abraham Accords?
Yes. So we have some really great countries in there right now, and I think we're going to start loading them up because Iran was the primary problem. I actually thought Iran would. I actually thought we had a period of time where I thought Iran would join the Abraham Accords along with everybody else.
They still could.
And frankly, they would have been better off than where they are right now.
And what about the Abraham Accords? Would Syria enter?
Well, I don't know, but, I did take off the sanctions at the request of some of the other countries in the area that are friends of ours. I took off the sanctions on Syria to give them a chance at, the sanctions are biting. They're very strong. And we have sanctions on Iran, too. And, you take them off when I sort of gave the expression today, you get more sometimes with honey than you do with vinegar.
Yeah, he actually put that in a True Social post to the Ayatollah. When the Ayatollahs claimed total victory and all those things, Trump was like, okay, well, now I'm not taking off the sanctions. You could have forged a path towards peace and prosperity, but you still want to act reckless. Okay, F around and find out. But the Abraham Accords will be expanded. I think we could see that as early as this summer. And Caroline Leavitt was talking about it today. Syria is absolutely going to be on that short list when it comes to expanding the Abraham Accords. And as Donald Trump mentioned, he lifted those sanctions on Syria. Caroline Leavitt talked a little bit about it today.
This afternoon, the president will be signing an executive order to terminate the United States sanctions program on Syria. And this is in an effort to promote and support the country's path to stability and peace. The order will remove sanctions on Syria while maintaining sanctions on the former President Assad, his associates, human rights abusers, drug traffickers, persons linked to chemical weapons activities, ISIS and their affiliates, and Iranian proxies. And this is, again, an action that the president promised and shocked the world with in Saudi Arabia, because he's committed to supporting a Syria that is stable, unified, and at peace with itself and its neighbors. The president met with Syria's new president when we were in the Middle East, as you know. And so this is another promise made and promise kept by this president to promote peace and stability in the region.
And the one guy that could actually get it done, peace and stability in the Middle East, who better than Donald J. Trump? 621, Chris Hand in for Matt Murphy. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
If you have a pest problem and that pest problem comes in the form of, let's say, ticks or roaches or fleas or ladybugs or silverfish or stink bugs, and there's many, many more. I mean, common Tennessee pests are in abundance right now because this is the time of year that you see them most. Well, it's time to get rid of them. Those pests don't have to be a reality for you if you have U.S. Pest on your side. Pest control is vital in your community. Pest control is vital in your home. It protects your family from the nastiness that is insect-borne disease or rodent-borne disease. It also just is the creep factor, right? You don't want roaches in your home. You don't want bugs in your home, and you certainly don't want termites. They can cause major damage. Give U.S. Pest a call today and find out what they can do for you. They don't pressure you into doing anything you don't want to do. They're not high-pressure sales guys. They're just there to solve problems. U.S. Pest. Go to uspest.com. They are the best at U.S. Pest. U.S. Pest is owned by J.K. and Erica Brister. And I always like to say there's two things you need to know about them. They love the United States of America, and they hate bugs. 590-1260. That's 590-1260.
Heartbreaking story. Ken Weaver coming up with all the latest. It is 6:26 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand, filling in for the one and only Matt Murphy, who is out of commission. Is that the best way to put it? He's out of commission currently? He's out of commission.
He's on the drugs.
He's on drugs. He's on drugs. Drugs. Did I let it awkwardly breathe enough? He got his shoulder replaced. It's going to be okay. Matt will be back next week. We love Matt Murphy, but we're absolutely here to stand in, fill the gap for him in the meantime. Hey, fun fact. So the day before 4th of July, before we get off the break, was Wednesday, in the 6 o'clock hour, I'm going to be filling in for Matt again. But we're going to have a really cool conversation about freedom that I just lined up and locked in with Colton Maccabee, who is the J6 sheriff. He was put in prison for, well over 1,000 days. He's a great guy, and we're gonna talk about what freedom looks like in 2025 under the current Trump administration and what his path has been like to get back to normal life and enjoying his rights and his freedoms in this country. Going to be a cool conversation. Just something to put a feather in your cap and remind you, Wednesday, 6 o'clock for that. We're really, really looking forward to it. In the meantime, Donald Trump sat down with Maria Bartiromo, and he had a lot of things to say about a lot of people, including China. I actually really like this clip a lot because Maria Bartiromo brings up all of the negative things that China does to America, to American intellectual property, the hacking, the spying, the espionage, all the things. And Trump looks at her and he goes, "You don't think we do that to them too?" It's just a very cool, listen to this. You just listen.
You've announced an agreement with the Chinese Communist Party, where China will export the rare earth minerals.
Yeah.
What does that mean in terms of this upcoming tariff structure? You've got a pause in terms of the more steep tariffs that ends August 12th. Are you going to extend that? Are you going to keep that in place or go back to a higher tariff on China?
China's going to be paying a lot of tariffs, but we have a big deficit. They understand that. I have a great relationship with President Xi. We have to do something about the deficit because we have a big trade deficit with China. Biden let it get up to $1 trillion. Think of it, $1 trillion deficit with one country. He let them just take them over the coals. We're not going to do that. But we're doing a rare earth deal, but we're also doing, remember, we have all of the airplane parts. They can't fly their airplanes without us. So we had, some guards also. But it should have never gotten that way because we should have been doing they call it magnets. It's a rare earth, but they call it magnets, a specific type. And they're making those magnets for us right now, and things are well. And we have a deal with China. It's a good deal, I think, hopefully for everybody. We had a deal with China where it was 145% tariffs, and I will tell you, everything stopped in China. I saw that everything stopped, and we did China a favor. But we're getting along well with China. I think
we're getting along well with China. Things are going good. And then Maria Bartiromo says to him, "Yeah, but what about all the hacking? What about the fentanyl? What about COVID?" And she just starts laying in, and it's Trump's answer that is just on point.
One of them signed a paper saying that he would value Mao Zedong's value system. So there was that. And then they hack into our telecom system. They've been stealing intellectual property. Fentanyl, COVID, all of this stuff. So how do you negotiate with obviously a bad actor and trust them on economics?
You don't think we do that to them?
I love that line. You don't think we do that to them?
We do.
So
we do a lot of things.
That's the way the world works?
That's the way the world works. It's a nasty world.
And then you just do a trade deal?
We do. Well, we made a lot of money with this trade deal. I do a trade deal if it works. We made a lot of money with the trade deal.
You think
I just love the negotiating style of Donald Trump. I love the way he just goes, "Yeah, we're doing it too, so we're still going to make a deal." I love that kind of honesty, and I love that kind of transparency. On the way, we got the world-famous lightning round on deck. Hang out with us. Any last-minute hot takes that you want to get about something we talked about, something we didn't talk about, 615-737-9986. We'll do the lightning round right after Ken Weaver's newscast, which starts right now on Super Talk 99.7. Lightning? Oh, see, you're supposed to hit it every time I say it. I was trying to test you.
I can't hit it back-to-back like that.
All right. Super Talk 99.7. WT Lightning. There it is. WTN.
Pastor and author J.C. Ryle once said, contrary to popular belief, hell is not a place God sends only the worst of the worst. Hell is our default destination. What that means is we need someone to save us, or we stand before God condemned to hell. But we cannot save ourselves. Only God can do that. Ephesians 2:8 and 9 says, for by grace you have been saved through faith, that not of yourselves, it is the gift of God, not as a result of works, so that no one may boast. Jesus Christ placed all believers' sins upon himself and died to pay for those sins. Why did he have to die, though? Because Scripture explicitly says the wages of sin is death. Wages means the same as payment, so payment for sin is death. There are no second chances to accept Christ and avoid hell after you die. So if you feel a prompting in your heart, it may be God drawing you. Scan the QR code to learn more.
.638 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show is usually Matt Murphy's. He's out. He'll be back on Monday. He's nursing that shoulder. We wish him nothing but the best. And as the team comes together, we will coalesce around him. We'll fill in the gaps. But Matt Murphy should be back soon. Send him a tweet at Matt Murphy Show. Tell him feel better. Tell him that Chris Hand told you that his shoulder was from China. Just whatever you want to say. Make it your own. Make it your own. But lean in on the China stuff. I think that's funny. Hey, it's time for the lightning round. Oh, yeah. So this is the time of the day where normally my show, it's like 11:35. But, last segment of the show, I'll run through all the stories that we couldn't get to or stories that wouldn't fill up an entire segment. Or we can get your last-minute hot takes about anything we talked about or didn't talk about. 615-737-9986 if you got a hot take. First story here in the lightning round. Unfortunately, Nashville's not getting a WNBA team. Oh. All right. That's it. So that's all I got. You want me? I don't understand it though. I really don't. You know where the WNBA teams are going? Ready for this? You tell me that Nashville isn't better than any of these three. Cleveland, Detroit, Philadelphia. Is there any reason why and I'm not advocating for the WNBA. I don't want to do that. But is there any reason why Nashville wouldn't be a better city to host a WNBA team than Cleveland, Detroit, or Philadelphia?
You know what all three of those cities have in common?
Rampant crime.
NBA markets. And the relationship between the two leagues.
I still don't see it, man. If you put a WNBA team in Nashville, all of a sudden this city it's a travel magnet for anybody that really does like the WNBA. What WNBA fan is going to go, you know where I'm going to go see them play? I'm going to go to Detroit and visit and watch them play. Maybe get mugged.
Get the full experience.
You know what I mean? Where? Cleveland hasn't been a basketball town since LeBron left. Let's be perfectly honest. And I've never seen one man affect an economy as much as I've seen LeBron James affect an economy. So when I lived in Pittsburgh for a couple of years. I lived in Detroit for a couple of years too. And I loved Detroit, believe it or not. Loved it so much more than Pittsburgh. It was fundamentally a worse city on every level, but a way better place to live. It's the most random thing. But why? Why would anybody visit these cities to watch the WNBA? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. That's all I got. Why wouldn't you choose Nashville? So dumb. So dumb. But anyway, at least we don't have to pretend to care about a WNBA team. I mean, especially you guys over on the sports station. Come on. You know that you didn't want to have to cover that.
It would have been fun for a while.
No, it wouldn't have. It wouldn't have. All right, hey, got another story for you in the lightning round. What do you say to people in the morning? What do you say, Jackson? Do you have a common saying for individuals when you see them in the morning to greet them?
Morning.
Would you just morning?
Depends on how I'm feeling. Maybe a good morning. Morning. Some along the lines of those greetings.
I would warn you against saying good morning moving forward.
Did you know that the term good morning was originated when our ancestors were being held as captives during so-called slavery? Slave owners, after spending all night torturing, murdering, and kidnapping their loved ones, would greet them at sunrise with, "Did you have a good morning?" That was their way of mocking us because they knew that we had just spent all night crying and mourning the loss of our loved ones.
Good morning's racist. It's off the table. Don't say it anymore. I can't believe you said it in the first place, you bigot. I don't wish anybody good morning. What I do is I say, don't look at me. It's way less racist. It's way less racist than inviting. So I just, hey, good morning, Chris. Don't look at me, bigot. That's what I'm starting to throw that in now. You stupid bigot. Why would you say that to me? So I just want to let you guys know in case you weren't keeping score at home. Okay? You don't want to walk around and accidentally say something racist and then, get in trouble. Got another story for you here in the lightning round. Do you see what happened in Kentucky?
The Dukes?
Them Duke boys are at it again. They had a car and they jumped a massive fountain in Kentucky with a replica General Lee. And they almost killed a guy. I mean, he literally. So they clear the fountain, which is awesome, and then he almost runs over a camera guy. Did you see him almost run over the camera guy?
Yes. Fast feet from the camera guy. I've seen many a camera guy get taken out in my day.
I mean, but there's another angle too of the camera guy almost getting taken out. Look at this. If you're watching on the stream, I mean, he boot scooting boogied out of there.
It was time to go.
Crazy. Thousands pack the streets of Somerset, Kentucky for a once-in-a-lifetime spectacle. Spectacle. I thought I was going to say spectacular. Spectacle. It was a spectacle for all. An epic tribute to television history as a replica of the legendary General Lee from the Dukes of Hazzard launched through the air over Fountain Square. The roaring crowd watched in awe as the bright orange 1969 Dodge Charger, symbol of rebellion and adrenaline, soared across the sky, just like it did in the 1980s hit series, where Bo and Luke Duke constantly outmaneuvered the law in their high-flying chases. I wonder what the marketing was behind this. There's a lot of people on the streets there.
Did you ever see that horrible Dukes of Hazzard remake?
The one with Johnny Knoxville and...
yes. The one that came out in like 2006?
I did. I was like... how old was I? I was probably... like 16, 17.
So, spectacle is how I imagine the Southerners in that movie, the way they portrayed Southerners in that movie. That's how I imagine they would say it.
Okay, yeah.
It's going to be a spectacle down when the Duke boys are here.
Yeah, it just may be. Well, if you know anything about the Dukes, they're really famous on TikTok. Did you know that?
Did not know that.
Huge on TikTok. Trump's bringing it back, and he's bringing it back for the Duke boys.
Or 40 or 50%. I would rather do that. So when I get,
We're not trying to extend the pause.
I don't think I'll need to because I could. There's no big deal. It's like TikTok. I'm extending that, but no big deal. We have a buyer for TikTok, by the way. I think I'll need probably China approval. I think President Xi will probably do it.
Who's the buyer?
I'll tell you in about 2 weeks.
A big technology company there.
Very, very wealthy people. It's a group of very wealthy people.
TikTok, buyer lined up. Trump says you'll probably find out in about 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks for TikTok.
So is that when Matt can come back?
That's when Matt can come back. Once China approves. Once everything's good.
It's going to be a long process.
It is. It is. 100%. Got another story for you here in the lightning round. Have you been following the Scott Adams story? Scott Adams, the Dilbert creator, came down with colon cancer, and he doesn't have a lot of hope. It looks really, really bad. He posted a video today where he said that today was the day he planned to commit suicide. Today. And he said he decided not to because they put him on new cancer treatments and he doesn't feel pain. And he went from saying he's got months left to live to now he's thinking he might have another couple of years. This is actually an incredible development for Scott Adams.
Today was the day. I was planning literally to take my own life today at the end of, it might be tomorrow, but at the end of June. But what happened instead is that I started taking some hormone blockers. They block your testosterone. And the cancer needs the testosterone to eat. So, completely surprising me, I didn't realize that would also remove all of my pain. Crazy. So, last night I'm swimming in my pool and playing ping pong and walking around. I have no pain anywhere. In fact, I don't have any real symptoms. My legs are a little bit wobbly because I couldn't walk for about 5 months. At least not much. I could hobble a little bit, but at the moment, my PSA levels have dropped 90%.
I mean, it's incredible. Like that entire clip is incredible. Saying that he was gonna kill himself. He was going to commit suicide. He was gonna punch out because he couldn't deal with the pain anymore, and he gets on this new medication, which a lot of people have been suggesting all sorts of medication to Scott Adams. I mean, if you've been following this, it was a couple weeks back. He put out a lengthy Twitter post saying like, "Please stop telling me about ivermectin. Please stop telling me about X. Please stop telling me about Y. I've done the research. I've tried it. It's not going to work for me. This is my fate." and now he's on new medication, and you can see a sense of joy almost washing over his face as he talks about playing ping pong and walking around the house without any pain and being able to swim in his pool. And it's just another example of God being so good. And I'll just continue to pray for Scott Adams to make it out on the other side healthy and happy, or at the very least, extend that life as long as you can without the pain, man. It's just a very, very cool development, something I wanted to share with you here in the lightning round. Got another story for you in the lightning round. The DOJ has fired 3 J6 prosecutors. Oh, ooh. Hey, just another fun fact. This time on Wednesday, we're going to have a conversation about freedom with one of those J6 inmates, a guy who was a sheriff here in Tennessee. Colton Maccabee is going to be joining the show to talk about what his experience was like ahead of 4th of July. It's really just a conversation about freedom and what that means in America in 2025. But this ties right in with it. DOJ firing 3 J6 prosecutors. The Department of Justice has reportedly fired 3 prosecutors who oversaw cases stemming from the protests and riots at the Capitol building on January 6, 2021. The firings included 2 attorneys who were overseeing cases related to pursuing J6 cases, as well as 1 line attorney working on similar cases, according to the Associated Press. One attorney even got a letter from Attorney General Pam Bondi saying that their removal was effective immediately. The letter cited Article 2 of the United States Constitution and the laws of the United States for their firings. President Donald Trump earlier this year pardoned many of those J6ers, including our friend Colton Maccabee. And his story about how he got that pardon is one that you're not going to want to miss. We had a long, in-depth interview with Colton. We sat down for about 2 hours a couple months back when he originally got released. It was about a week after his release. That's on our YouTube page. If you want to go back and watch it, you're more than welcome to. It's eye-opening how horribly these J6 protesters were treated. They were political prisoners in America in 2024. Donald Trump changed all of that. Can't wait for this conversation on Wednesday. It's going to be a great one. And I'm just glad that the DOJ is still cleaning up the mess left behind by the Biden administration. All right, got time for about one more story here in the lightning round. This one comes from a new podcast that just dropped, RFK and Tucker Carlson Jr. This is really crazy. Definitely worth the watch. RFK tells Tucker Carlson that the CDC buried its own internal study showing an 1,135% increase in autism risk from the hepatitis B vaccine. You heard me right. An 1,135% increase in autism risk when you get the hepatitis B vaccine. The CDC buried their own study.
What you would do if you wanted to find the answer, which is to compare outcomes in a fully vaccinated group to health outcomes in an unvaccinated group. And CDC did that study in 1999. They brought in a team of scientists under a Belgian researcher named Thomas Verstraeten, and they looked at the data. They looked at children who had received the hepatitis vaccine within the first 30 days of life and compared those children to children who had received the vaccine later or not at all. And they found an 1,135% elevated risk of autism among the vaccinated children.
This should be breaking news, major, everywhere. ABC, NBC, CBS, the CDC has been lying to you. That vaccine that they told you your baby needed because they could get hepatitis B if they're having unprotected sex or playing in needles actually could have contributed to their autism. This is insane.
And it shocked them. They kept the study secret, and then they manipulated it through 5 different iterations to try to bury the link. And, we know how they did it. They got rid of all the older children, essentially, and just had younger children who were too young to be diagnosed. And they stratified the data, and they did a lot of other tricks. And all of those studies were the subject of that kind of trickery.
All of those studies were the subject of that kind of trickery. You do not understand how much of a blessing it is to have RFK in there at the head of HHS. Changes are coming, and they're coming rapidly. What we're going to be learning over the next few months things like this are going to be mind-blowing. And I am grateful that RFK is there to expose it. 6:54, Chris and in for Matt Murphy. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Stink, stank, stunk. I mean, when you go to the typical auto repair shop, that's what you smell. You smell the stinky, greasy rags, and, a lot of times you see them laying on the counter and whatnot, and you're a little concerned about sitting in the seats, but you do it anyway because you feel like you don't want to upset anybody. If this has been your experience at the auto repair shop, another thing that stinks, they're not being honest with you. They keep your car forever. It costs more than they told you it was going to cost you. You need to get a Eurofix, because at Eurofix, they take the stink out of European auto repair. At Eurofix, you get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection. At Eurofix, you never get a high-pressure sales tactic. They're not trying to fix something that isn't a problem with your vehicle. At Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment, and you never pay dealer prices. At Eurofix in Franklin, 100 Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and Mount Juliet, you can get good auto repair at an inexpensive price right now. You don't have to wait for it. Go and call Eurofix today or go online at myeurofix.com, 844-EUROFIX. That's 844-EUROFIX, or myeurofix.com. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Eurofix.
And with Colton Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand in for Matt Murphy on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Just a reminder, if you're wondering what you should do in your free time tonight, download the Ice Block app and flood the zone with fake reports. If you don't know what it is, Google the Ice Block app and find out more. I'll be back tomorrow at noon. Hang out with us at Super Talk 99.7 WTN.